to the prophet, honor star theocratic government, our royal council, our flag, seal, emblem, our divine constitution, our swift angels, our mufti, citizens alike, honors to all the Moors that are here in attendance. And I will begin with the reading of the divine constitution of Moorish America. Salvation, our God, unity. The divine constitution of Moorish America. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the grand body of Moorish America. The assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of Moorish America. The bylaws. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on the Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on the Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is a holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality. And we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized, or proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and a partial of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America, and then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, with the guidance of his Father God Allah. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, peace and blessings be upon him, founding father and framer of the divine constitution and bylaws of Moorish America. And with this, I would like to turn the meeting over to Diane Carter Bay, or Dindra Ani Kurta Bay, for her portion of the meeting.
Islam. I am Dr. Dindra Ani Kurta Bay. First, let me rise and give praises to our great God Allah. I give honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honors to Act 1. I give honors to all my government officials. And I give honors to our national assistant grand sheikh for this class. And I give honors to Dr. Bhakti Bay for doing our constitution and bylaws. I will be reading chapter 34, coming from our holy Quran. And it reads, Yehoshua, the prophet, had finished his task and must now go to the sons of men with love divine and peace on earth. The work of Yehoshua was done, and now he must go to teach the sons of men. And in the temple he stood and said, the Son of Man has come to bring the light of life. And all the brothers stood and said, this is a royal day for all the hosts of the earth, for salvation has come to all the children of men. 6 times before the bar, 6 times a conqueror. And then one said to Yehoshua, brother man, most excellent of men. In all the temper tests, you have won out. Upon your brow I place this diadem, and in the great assembly of all the world and heaven, you are the mastermind of all. Now man can do no more, but Allah Himself will speak and confirm your title. Go your way and teach peace on earth, goodwill to men. And while the Hierophant yet spoke, the temple bells rang out in love, and the Logos journeyed on his way, a conqueror. Islam, Islam, Islam. I will now turn it back over to our host, our National Assistant Grand Chief, Dr. Sadu Amit El Muhammad Sepsaveh. Islam.
Islamism, Islam, Islam, Islam. Well, we want to rise upon the seven and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, everything it is that makes us a nation. You know, man, our flag, divine constitution, and bylaws, it's just an honor to be here in this new era and time. And we want to welcome you to yet another session of our E.A.R.S class, the Egyptian Adeptus Research Sultanate. You know, man, we have really elevated by meets and bounds, so to speak. And this is a grand droid, you know, that we had to bring forth to our family today. We are still dealing with going into the unfoldment or the rebirthing in this new era and time, the Re En Kmt. For those who don't know what the Re En Kmt is, the Re En Kmt is referred to as hieratic Egyptian. And so our family have some grand draws to bring forth in relation to what it is that they have brought forth with their thesis this morning. You know, so it's going to be a powerful measure. You know, we're going to educate the public, educate our people, and we look forward to seeing what it is that our scribes have to bring forth this morning. So without further ado and delay, what I want to do is just pull this up so that we have an idea of where we're going with this special demonstration. As we already know, our panelists already know what's going on. And this was our actual assignment that we had out here. Just to reiterate and go over it a little bit. If you look, it is dealing with, and this is for the public to be able to follow us and see where we're going. You know, to continue to search for our strong words, which we do that, you know, among our own time, you know, and being vetted by the method of seeking the triune linguistic tie through, well, those slightly changed through morphology. And the second is the choosing of 7 words from the A section to define them accordingly and use them in our own font attached to this email. And the other is choosing hieratic words from the shipwrecked sailor to construct sentences of communication from the circle 7 of your own making. You know, so yeah, this is going to be a powerful demonstration here that we have. And we're going to see our family bring forth some measures so that we can see the connections, you know, of the triune linguistics, and we'll get further into the A section demonstrations a little later. Family, y'all know how we do it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now so that we can allow our family to come forth. And also in the background, I also be sharing, you know, this link to a few more spots because we want to make sure that our family can see this demonstration. And we just say gratitude, Islamism, peace and love. So at this time, we're going to call forth whoever it is that may want to come forth to bring their particular portion or their gifts or their understanding forth in relation to dealing with this is special assignment. Islam?
Islam.
Islam. Dr. Dendra, Anir Kurtabay. Hi. Oh, yeah, we got you.
I'm going to jump on out here in this deep water. Islam family honors has already been given. Let me make sure I remember how to do this. I'm going to share my screen or present my screen. So I click there and hit share screen, right? Share screen and then
entire screen.
it says share screen again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then entire screen.
Click the picture.
Okay, and then share. All right, family. All right. Can y'all see my screen? Islam.
Oh, yeah, we see it. It's there now.
All right. That ain't what I want up there. My first word, the first assignment was to continue our search and find strong words. And I've been working on a couple of words, but I really worked on this word, AFAF. Let me find it here, family.
Okay, have you selected your document yet to put it up there?
No.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's finna get ready to come up now.
And I'm trying to find where I put it in.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure you wasn't froze and it wasn't froze or nothing. So you got it. Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that ain't it.
You said AFAF, right?
Yeah. I thought I had these things lined it up, family. But my word is where did it go? Bear with me, family. I'm still learning this. Let me see. Is this it? No. There we go. Islam. This is my word. Can y'all see that, or do I need to
make it a little bit bigger?
Make it a little bit bigger.
Sign up there.
Right here.
Well, you have to expand that tab, that whole tab, Goddess and Queen, over your screen.
I'll go there, make it an entire screen.
Yeah, because it's showing the background of my page.
Okay, now can you see it now?
Oh yeah, I can see that now.
Okay. Do I need to make
it ain't showing a document, it's showing just the little pieces. That's all you trying to show, that little.
Yeah. I'm just this is coming from the dictionary with all the A's in there.
Yeah, you can blow it up a little bit more. Just stretch it out.
Okay. Let me see.
Plus.
Can y'all see that? Is that good? Because if I go in and move, it might get a little blurry. Okay, well, family, this is coming from the dictionary that we getting our words from. That got all the A's. Actually, it's got everything in there. It's about 2,000 some pages. But I picked out this word, and different people pronounce it different ways. It's a fat, a fat, and it means, as we can see here, if you can see my little cursor, you got the little bird, you got the two birds, and then you got the man with his hands raised. And it says to praise, to rejoice, to exalt. All right. And in my vetting of the word, after I picked out my word that I want to, that I felt like was a strong word, I went to when I started vetting that word, I went to the shipwreck sailor. Let me click on that one.
Make it full screen.
I went here to the shipwreck sailor. Can y'all see that? I went to the shipwreck sailor, and I saw. I was looking for the man with his hands raised. Well, I didn't. The man with his hands raised, it wasn't exactly like the one in my original meaning, but it had the word rejoice in there. So that was my original meaning for that word. It means to be on high, rejoice, to exalt. And so it had the man with his hands raised, but the other man in my original meaning that you saw, he was like sitting down, and this means be high, rejoice, and moan, and also it means high. And then when you look down here in the vocabulary, it also means high, and we still see that glyph, that alphabet right there, and it. Also, it talks about the man with both arms raised. And then the Unicode for that is A28. And also right here, family, I noticed a common ground. I kept seeing that's a K and an A. I kept seeing that. And so the next one that I went to was, let me, guess I closed this one out. The next one I went to was I went to the Molar dictionary. That's this one, right? No.
First column.
No, yeah, not that one, family. Bear with me. I'm still learning. Number 3. I went to Molar. This one.
Make it full screen.
And as you can if you can remember, it's the man with his hands raised. And if you can remember, this was the same alphabet. Let me pull up the one, the Unicode. Let me pull up the Unicode, because I looked up the Unicode A28, and y'all see that? You see A28. I see the KA right here. Can family, can y'all see that? And this is the same. You got the man with his hands raised, and then this alphabet here, I say that it looked just like this one. It looked just like this one. Let me take my cursor off. So you see these two alphabets are the same. Islam. And then when you come on down, I still see in common, you got the Unicode A28, and then you got the KA over here. And then you also got the H, I think that's an A. Then you got the HAI in this one. And these look similar to the original one, alphabet coming from the shipwreck sailor. This one right here. They look same. Some of them look the same, but they all got the similarities to them. And this one down here has got the man with his hands raised, and still a Unicode A28. And then you have the KA that was also in the shipwreck sailor, and you got the H, and I think that's the A. Then you got the HAI. And so after I did that, how did I get out of here?
Hit escape.
After I did that, I went to because I'm trying to find similarities to the word family that I had originally. After that, I went to the Dixon's dictionary. Let me pull that one up. I went to the Dixon dictionary. Then I went to the Bagger's dictionary. I'm gonna pull that one up, and I'm gonna put them side by side so you can see the similarities there. Make it bigger. I'm trying to make okay. When I went to the Dixon's dictionary, they changed the alphabet changed, but the definition you still got the Unicode A28, and then it says high ground. Remember, in my original meaning, it say be high, rejoice to exalt. What it have in common, you got the man with his hands raised, and it says high ground, then arable land. I didn't understand what that means. And then here again, you got the man with his hands raised. You got the Unicode A28, and then you got for the definition, it's got be raised on high. Well, keep in mind, my original definition was be high, rejoice to exalt. So I see the word high is common in the Dixon's dictionary. Also, you got the little man with his hands raised, and this is the adjective. And here go you got high again. Remember, that's part of my definition. My original definition coming from the dictionary with all the A's and the shipwrecked sailor, it had the word high in there also. So I'm looking at that high is common in these meanings. And it say tall, and then exalted. This is say exalted, and in my original meaning, it had to exalt. And so, and then down here, still the Unicode A28, and then I'm looking at the man with his hands raised, dealing with the AFAF. All right, then when I went to the Vegas dictionary, there again, I see the man with his hands raised, and I see the KA, but it's got a T on it, and it also means height. And then coming down here, I hope y'all can see this. I don't see my little cursor, but anyway, just coming down, on the right side, it's got the KA, and then it means high ground. There you got the word high again. Down to the third one, the little man his hands is raised, and this second little man, it actually looked like the first picture with the A's that I showed you, but you got the H, and I think that's an A. But there's my word rejoice, because it says in the beginning, I told you that word means rejoice. Now this line here, that line, I didn't see no resemblance in that line other than you got the A28, and then the man with his hands raised. But coming on down, I got the man with his hands raised, and it's got KAI, and then it's there again, it's got be raised on high, and then uplifted. Then you come down, the man, he got his hands raised, but you got another symbol there, but it still is the KI. I see that KI is common, and it means tall. There go my word again, high, long, exalted. That's another word in the beginning that I had, and it got be raised on high. There go your word high again, and uplifted. And then down here, you got the man with his hands raised. You got the KA, but it's got a T on it. And you got the height, and you got the A28. And then this one, the last one down here, coming from the Vegas dictionary, you got a symbol there. But I still see that KA, but you got the YT on there. And then it means high. There again, my word high, ground. You know, it's a noun, but you still got the Unicode A28, but you got the Z5 on to there. All right, and then after I did that, I went to, and I didn't have time to I didn't get to put I went to the I'm gonna have to read this one to your family. I went to the Arabic dictionary. I had taken a picture of it, but it came out kind of dark, and I didn't have a chance to work on it. But for those of you who got the Arabic dictionary, it's on page 24, and there again, I'm looking for the AFAF, and but in my Arabic dictionary, it had AFA, and then it had a QA. It didn't have the F but it did have the A, and that means um, to go in country or horizon. Then it means horizon again. Then it said it means remote side, farthest part, borders, wide world. And then the second one, it had same page 24, coming from my Arabic dictionary. I found AKA, and then it didn't have the FA, but it had a KA. The letters changed again. And it says to tell a lie, turn away from, change a purpose or state, make false show, and seduce. So that's what I had for my word afat. And so I felt like that this the similarities I had was a lot of similarities there concerning that word. And then that's all I had for that's all I had for well, that's all I was I'm gonna show, because it's so much getting those strong words and vetting them. I just wanted to show y'all that one that I worked on, but I also got 6 more that I'm working on. But it's just so much, y'all, and I'm trying to learn. And so I just wanted to do that one to show you what I was doing. And then I'm going to the second assignment. You said, Dr. Shahid, you say choose 7 words from the A section. You say define them accordingly and use our own font attached to this email. So I went and found 7 words from that A dictionary, and let me see. I think this is it. Yeah. And I got Dr. Anu here helping me. Praise the Lord for my son. So these are the 7 words that I went to our dictionary family to get out. He said pick out 7 words from the A section. So I picked all the words that started with the A. I ain't gonna try to pronounce those because I don't want to mess them up. But then you say put them in the font, in our own font. So I use our font, the Iberit. I think. Let me click on it. Right there. Okay. Let me show you that. That's those words in Iberit. Let me try to split that and put it beside. I'm gonna try to make this big one. How you make it? I'm gonna try to make that. Okay. I hope y'all can see that. That's as big as I can get it, fam. I apologize. But this is my 7 words right here. And this is it in the Iberic Egyptian. Islam. And then that was for that one. And then for number 3, Dr. Shahid, you say choose poetic words from the shipwrecked sailor to construct sentences of communication from the circa 7 of your own making. So I don't know. I didn't. I hope I did this right, but I picked out. Some words in the shipwrecked sailor, and I made a sentence out of. I made a sentence out of them using the Holy Quran. And the words that I picked out in the shipwrecked sailor was.
Second row.
Right here. Wait a minute. These are the words.
That's it in Arabic.
This is it in Arabic. Let me pick up. Okay, now these are the words that I chose from the shipwrecked sailor. Let me see if I can get them side by side, family. Get a little nervous here. I'm trying to make this one bigger. Well, it didn't get much bigger, but I hope y'all can see that. But these the words I picked out from the shipwrecked sailor. I saw wife, daughter, children, one who loves. And all of those words right there is in our Holy Quran. It is in our bylaws. All those words are in our bylaws. So my sentence is wife, daughter, children, one who loves. And then my other word that I got from the shipwrecked sailor was here. I was trying to find listen and say, and I typed this out, and family, I didn't know how to get it back out. So that ain't supposed to be there. So I didn't know how to get that back out without going through the whole thing and changing everything. So just disregard that say or speak, please. And my word is hear or speak to your heart. And I got that out of chapter 1 out of our Holy Quran. And heart is also in our Holy Quran. I forgot what page. I got the pages wrote down, but they in our Holy Quran. So that's my sentence that I made up that for number 3. And this is it in the Arabic language, Islam. And that's all I have, Dr. Shahid. It took me a long time, but that's what I got. So Islam, gratitude, and I'm gonna stop right there. Whew, and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Where that's it? Okay, now that's what I had. That's what I've been working hard and diligent on. Family, I'm learning. I'm learning this computer. Praise Allah. And I'm not saying anything negative because every day and every way I am better and better and better. Islam.
Islam. And praise be to Allah for the work that you put in, Goddess and Queen. You know, Islamism, it's all, you know, a process of unfoldment. And the more that we become familiar, you know, with that special process, you know, the more clarity will come to us, you know, because again, you know, these are foreign elements to us at the moment, you know, but yet we are dealing with a methodology that is being reproduced. We can say not even reproduced, but brought forth or produced by ourselves. And so everything will unfold just as it has unfolded to get us to where we ought to be able to demonstrate like this. But remember, there was a time, you know, that we didn't even have this particular approach that we was able to come forth with. Praise be to Allah, we were able to have these things manifested as a result of the guidance of the ancestors, you know. And so here we are. We give honors to your sister Dendra, you know, high priestess and scribe, you know, for all that you do. Keep up the good work, and gratitude, Islam. Okay. Well, from our panelists, the scribes, We are still on the manifest watching what it is that you have to bring forth. So I'm going to get out the way and let our family come forth. Islam. Uh-oh. I think I might be. Am I froze, Morris King? Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
No,
Go ahead.
Islam
Okay.
main froze is kind of.
Yeah, we waiting for the
Yeah.
session, the assignment. So
No,
I'm gonna
we must be froze.
I,
No, it's
yeah,
it's
I
not
bring
about the debate. I don't have no, I'm not even gonna bring no excuse. Go ahead, Dr. Tara Anpu Ani Bati Bay.
Islam. I'm gonna bring forth what I've done. Let me see if I remember how to do this. I didn't get all the assignment done. I do have the words. If I share, present, there it goes. Been having a little trouble with my computer, and I don't have that flash drive right next to me. That's got the tools on it. So this is entire screen, checkbox. Oh, there it goes. There you go. Okay. Am I sharing?
I don't see it yet. It ain't popped up in the queue for me to. There you go. All right.
So this is the assignment that we have, and I picked the word out. I don't shipwreck sailors. I don't have that portion of it, and I searched through my emails to try to find it. I don't have that portion. It might have been on that flash drive that I lost. And I even tried to check my emails, and I haven't been able to find that shipwreck sailor document. What I did get, but I got this this word, and I'm not even going to even bring that forth right now. But I do got the 7 words where we had to take from the A section in our Sesh Kemet Egyptian, the 7 A words from the, what is it? This document. I don't know if you can see this document behind it. This document right here. And where's this? Let me get back on here. Bam. And I had changed if I read correctly, you were supposed to take these. Read this assignment. 1 second. It says choose 7 words from the A section, define them accordingly, and use our own font attached to this email. Now I got a Kier, and it says the gates of night and day on the horizon, and I changed the on the horizon, and I changed it over to our font. As you see, I did the Ruti and Rewet, which is the sunrise in the east, and the other the sunrise in the west. I did I'm he, and the god of the underworld, and I changed that over. That I'm wet, Amit, and and this is the devourer of the hearts, which is truly just, when I look at the definition of that, when you think about the devourer of the hearts, I would say devourer of the hearts is ignorance. And I think I might have put that in the document that I sent when we first started off with the A's. I have Amun, Amen in here, and this is Amun, Amen, and Amin. And I changed this over to the creator gods and put the creator God this in our what is it? In our, I don't know if this was the Iberic or the thing, because I think that it only let me download one of the scripts. Yeah, this is the Iberic script. It didn't let me download the other one for some reason. Like I said, I've been having trouble with this computer for a few days now. And then I got Amin Ra and the sun, the wind, and fertility. I changed over to our script. Aminet and Amt. Aminet and Aminet, that's the same thing. Protector of the king. And I just changed that over to the script. The other part of the and I didn't get the other part of the assignment done, and this is what I was going to change over into it when but I couldn't find that shipwreck document, and I tried to look it up online to see if it would pull up, and it only brought a story up of a shipwreck out of Egypt. It didn't bring up the actual document that I was looking for, the 2,000-page dictionary, to put the reflection is the business of man in here out of chapter 66, and that's what I have right now, and that's all I have right now. Islam. Say that. That's it. I did that today.
Okay, hold up. I'm just talking over here. No, I was saying Islam gratitude for the measure you brought forth, and we'll try to get the shipwreck sailor to you, my brother. And keep up the good work. It's just a grand draw to see our family come forth and strive to manifest. So Islam. Well, all right. I know our brother Marvin Edwards Bay say he don't have anything. Okay, so I guess that leaves our Grand National Secretary of the State, Sister Shepsut Rakat Ma'at and Poo Tutankhamun Bay.
Islam, can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you loud and clear with divine ears, Grand National Secretary of the State.
Do you want 1, 2, and 3?
Well, you can actually present it, and we'll get the other when you send it. That other portion that we normally leave out.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can just send those to me.
So which one do you want?
It will be your one, and then you can go into. I tell you what, go ahead and bring it forth as it is, because it's security on it.
Islam.
Yeah, Islam.
All right, I'm gonna present my screen. Can you see the screen, Morris? Ken?
Oh yeah, we most definitely we can see it.
Islam.
Yes, we can.
All right. As our Moorish, first of all, let me rise giving praises to Allah, honor to our Prophet, honor to our family online, honor to our Moorish kin on the panel, giving honor to our host, our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Moorish America, Dr. Shedo Amenti El Mohedded Shepsuel, and also to Act One. For the assignment part 1, I only did the first 5. So I'll be working on number 6 and 7. So in our assignment for part 1, continue the search for 7 strong words vetted by the method of seeking a triune linguistic tie through slightly changed through morphology. So the first word I had was Ari, A-R-I, which means friend, associate, companion, he who belongs to something, one in charge, and keeper. And this came from the ancient Egypt dictionary. And a lot of times, if I can't find the word A-R-I itself, I'll try to either use the definition to see if I can pull up something that's close to the A-R-I, or drop a vowel or not. So I also found IRY, IRI, IRT, IRWY, IRR, and IWY. So this is a picture of it coming from the Egyptian Hieroglyphic Dictionary, page 69. We're looking at some of the glyphs. You see the reed, and a lot of these were duplicated. So again, the meaning, he who belongs to something or someone, one who is in charge, keeper. It looks like dual or duality. The man whose duty it was to attend to something. Okay, and coming from the Ancient Egyptian Dictionary, page 35 and 36. Now here you see I looked it up through one of the definitions of keeper. And this is where I saw the ARY, the ARAA, so, and I pulled the Unicodes from combining, I basically wrote the Unicodes down on a paper to see which ones were similar, etc. This one is keeper of the diadem. Again, another keeper, keeper of cattle pens. And here's some more of the AR, or I'm sorry, the IR words, which went a little bit off as far as the definition was concerned. The Unicodes for ARI, this is the D36 and D21, which was actually similar. And if you notice the A and RR word here, and then the RY. The Unicode for RM17, it had the I on both of these, showing the reed. The Unicodes for A1 and Z2, you got a man. And if you notice, it's the three little demonstrations there at the bottom. And the Unicodes X1 and Z4, blow this up a little bit. You see TY, but it still has some similar glyphs. And X1 with a T in it, that was a similar glyph as well. Now going to the Dixon Dictionary, I looked up definition keeper because ARI wasn't coming up. But you notice keeper did bring up the IRY, dealing with keeper here, or duty of someone, dealing with something functionary, custodian of laws, keeper of the diadem. So that was familiar with the previous dictionary. And you see the read there. Some of the glyphs are similar. And again, doorkeeper. Vigus Dictionary, looking up keeper. Now this actually came up with SAW, keeper. Strong's Hebrew, they actually had the Ari, but their definition was a lion in Hebrew language, young lion or pierce. The word origin they have is Ara, A-R-A-H, and the vowels are often interchangeable. And then lion, lions at the bottom, or here's another a lion, and pierce. Also, they had Ariel, lioness of El, coming from the origin of A-R-I and L. Also named for a man of Moab. There were several demonstrations on ARI. So we're still in the Hebrew language. And it also still continuing with lioness of El, proper name, masculine, a chief man among returning exiles, two sons of Ariel and Moab, still going for lion of God. and it's showing the Hebrew A-R-I with the Y added. Now, coming from the Dictionary of the Holy Quran, page 13 and also 74, it came with the A-T-R-A-F-N-A or Tarifa, which I saw the Ari in that. I also saw Tariba, to have much earth, be full of earth. Here's the A-R-I down here, the breast or breastbones, rib. And that was it for Ari. For the second one, A-B-E-H, this is what it looks like coming from me. Just
Islam. Can you hear me?
Islam.
Right?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
I just want to say something, just in the midst, not to cut into your wheels of Grand
Yes, sir.
Secretary of State. Powerful demonstration, and I'm gonna give you a grand drawing here briefly, because if you go back to them definitions that you just gave,
Yes, sir.
and you go into the sound shift, and we know R is interchangeable with the letter L.
Praise the Lord. You want me to go back?
Yeah.
Which one?
You can go back to the very beginning of your Ari slide,
Okay.
and we can put some context in. We know the R is interchangeable with the letter L. So if you replace the R with L, it becomes Ali,
Praise the Lord.
right?
Yes.
And so when you say he who belongs to something or someone, and then one who in charge and a keeper, and then you talk about the keeper of the diadem, and you putting that in the context of Ali, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, because I actually have a definition on the word, Ari, as also meaning one that is high, to ascend.
Praise the Lord.
As well, coming from that same dictionary. And we know Ali means the most high.
Right.
In order for you to come into being the most high, you have to ascend into the heights. And so once we look at it at that context, now go back through those same definitions, reflect on that draw. Islam,
hail keeper, doorkeeper, keeper of the diadem. Right. Praise the Lord.
Custodian of the laws.
Yes.
You see, overseer, administrator, all those things in connection to the word, even though they change a little bit here and there based on extra letters, but that's powerful. Go ahead, Grand Secretary.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. You want me to go to the next one?
Oh, yeah. You
okay.
Can go to it. Islam.
Praise the Lord for that blessing.
Okay. So gratitude, Islam.
Gratitude. For the second one, coming from the Egyptian Hieroglyphic Dictionary, page 39, A-B-E-H, which their meaning is tooth, biters, title of a priest. And so in going to the ancient Egyptian dictionary to find the Unicodes, page 23 for Abe or A-B-E-H, tooth, I went for the definition of it. Since I couldn't find A-B-E-H directly, but it did bring up I-B-H, dropping the E and changing the vowel from the A to the I, tooth or tusk, I hear the Unicodes. Then I also went to the definition, title of the priest. All three of these say of Hathor, with its special Unicodes, and now it went to I-H-Y. I still pulled it up because it was similar in definition. Looking at the Unicodes for M17 and V28, you see I, looking at the read, and this to me looks like the DNA demonstration, which is a H, looking at the Unicodes for F18, it brought forth that kind of looks like a tooth, but that's why I included a couple more. You see BH, which you can see that in this word, the HW, the DBH, NHDT, and SBT, as far as other terminology for that, a special one. And looking at Unicode Z1, And that one didn't actually have words to it. In the Dixon Dictionary, page 56, I looked up tooth, where we can see the IBH again in the Unicodes. And then it also changed up WAB, root of a plant or socket of the eye, and leg, and then it had tooth down here as well. The Vigus, on these 3 pages, looking up tooth, the IBH for all 3 of these. Most of that we see similarities dealing with that F18 Unicode. And you see that DNA looking glyph as well. For Hebrew, I was able to find ABEH, and it had, several versions of the ABEH. That's why I put all 4 down. Now, for their definition, they had a desire or a longing, and coming from the dictionary of the Holy Quran, looking up high priest, because I didn't really see tooth in there. I used the priest definition, kahuna, to be priest or soothsayer. Now, that kind of stood out to me, to sooth, whatever. But anyway, that was just my thinking. Hamana, dealing with a priest, the title.
Islam. Can y'all hear me, Morris Ken?
Islam.
Islam, we hear you, but we can't hear her anymore.
Okay, Grand National Secretary of the State. Did she go froze or did her internet drop?
She's still up there.
Well, yeah, give us.
Okay, she dropped.
down.
Yeah, she dropped off now. She must be gonna come back in. Give her a minute. She'll be back in probably. Dr. Shaheed, while we waiting on her, I forgot to give my meaning to my words that I found. I would like to give the meaning to the words that I found, but I can wait till after everybody finished though. We can't hear you, God man.
Now I say, actually, you can send them to me. That way, remember them portions there, we keep them out of the public.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Gratitude.
With definition.
Islam.
That's what we're gonna put in our dictionary.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, we got some things we working on. Okay, there she go right there. She calling me now.
Oh, okay. Gratitude.
Okay. Islam Grand Second. What in the world? Oh, there she go.
Can y'all hear me, family?
Oh, we can hear you now. I say she probably still was demonstrating.
So I'm like, what? I just hung up because, okay, I'm doing this presentation and before I realized it was you. Apologize, Dr. Shaheed. Yeah, gratitude. I'm like, what in the world?
Oh man, Rome. I told him Rome is a liar.
Where did I leave off?
We was getting the portion where you was going into the essence of the word, and then it just dropped off on the obey part. I think it was the last portion.
Okay, let me share the screen again.
Yeah,
family, I tell you.
Goodness gracious. I tell you, these apparatuses acting crazy. We were just talking about that earlier. They better stop it.
I'm telling you.
Was like they trying to get it up. We gotta make a nuisance, y'all.
Yeah.
Go ahead, goddess and queen.
Was the word AMK?
Yeah, I think he was getting ready to go into that.
Okay. So did y'all see
it
AMK at all?
Well, it froze up. Like when you were speaking.
Okay.
And then it went blank.
Gracious. All right. Starting with AMK, coming from the Egyptian Hieroglyphic Dictionary, page 55, it had to perish, to decay, to become corrupt. If you notice, you see the reed, the Egyptian vulture, the bowl, etc. And looking at the going from the word MK, because I didn't see AMK. MK defined as behold. Then it also added MKHA to turn the back to, ignore, eschew evil, and be neglectful of. Looking at the Unicodes, G17 and V31, we can see the M and the K here, recognizing the glyphs. Dixon, pulling up MK and MKHA, again, behold, and turning the back to, same definitions. Vigus, same definitions, and we notice the similarity in the Unicodes. Strong's Hebrew, I looked it up dealing with parish, and I just put these four here as they look to be the closest to the word AMK. So I looked it up by the definition of parish. And the last, dealing with the Dictionary of the Holy Quran, AMK, I pulled AMK from Yamkuru or Makara. And this one had to plan a scheme, punish a deceiver, contrive a plot. But that was the closest that I came to the AMK. They planned. Whisperings, taunting remarks, malicious talk, secret imputations, which was not similar to the meaning that I had for, perish, decay, or become corrupt. Yeah, that's kind of similar. Become corrupt. Next word, AMGAH, to be weak, to be sad. And here are the glyphs for that. Pulling it up from the ancient Egyptian dictionary, we see, I use the word weakness because, of course, I didn't pull it up through AMGAH. It didn't have any hits on that. So you see the G, M, and W, or GNN, which is still definition as weakness. So I pulled up Unicode's G28 and A7, which is the GM. And you also notice the WRD, HMS, and BAGY. And hold on one second. Moors, I'm on the line. Dixon Dictionary, AMGAH. Pulled up definition of weak, weakness, and weak. They acting crazy on the phones too. Vigus. We have weakness under KMS. The IBFMH and the GMW. Strong's Hebrew. Now I was able to pull up AMAL to be weak, looking at the weak aspect of the definition, primary root, to be weak in language. And then you see decay, fade away, fades. And then ANASH, to be weak or sick. Desperately sick, incurable, sick, and woeful. pardon self. Okay. Dictionary of the Holy Quran, we see Masakha, which pulled out the weak to destroy, transform, and change, and Mahuna, which also was weak. And that's what I got from that aspect. The fifth word, which is the final word, the Egyptian hieroglyphic dictionary, Ani and Anu, which you can see to bring, to convey, to produce. And then porter, carrier, and bringer. The ancient Egyptian dictionary, I looked up bring, to bring, fetch, carry off. Now that came up as I-N-I. And it also bring brought up A-N-N. And bring also brought up N-W-Y, different variations of that word, because we know I and Y are interchangeable as well. Unicodes, pulling up this, you see the N, you see the I-N and I-N-I. And Dixon, now A-I-N-I, the A-N by itself, beautiful, bright of face, pleasing, be kind and magnificent. I-N, this was a different dictionary definition, by and so says, oh, sorry, hold on. And then A-N-N, to turn back. When we look at Vigus, pulling up bring, it's kind of similar to bring, and then the R-N-N, bring again. The Hebrew, I was able to pull up A-N-I. Now, this definition meant alone or myself. And also, I, as for me, mine, myself, which was something a little bit different. And it also had another meaning, where and whither. And coming from the Dictionary of the Holy Quran, Anifan, A-N-I, is what I pulled out. And that had, and Hanaka, it had bring in there as well, bring under authority, bring into subjection. And then this one, bring under my sway. I shall certainly perish, will most certainly bring under my sway after having. And that's the end of the section number 1. So I have 2 more words that I need to thoroughly vet on that one. Now, number 2, choose 7 words from the A section, define them accordingly, and use your own font attached to this email. The first word, Anetch, dealing with protector, defender, advocate, avenger, and also to strike. A-N-E-T-C-H, using the Re En Kmt font that was downloaded. Much gratitude, National Assistant Grand Sheik. For A-N-T-C-H, A-N-T-C-H, that means to suffer grief or pain, oppressed and depressed. Third word, A-H-A-I, A-H-I or A-H-A. I went for the A-H-A-I. Hold on 1 second, Morris.
Where is this phone at?
See, got people that want to play games with the phone. But anyhow, moving on. A-H-A-I, death cry, death sentence, or cry of woe, death, and wail. And this is using our language, the Re En Kmt. Next word, A-S-K-H-A. These are the letters here, which means call to mind or to remember. I got it. And number 5, A-S-H-U-I, which means to raise up and to elevate. A-S-H-U-I. Sixth word, Aqat, A-Q-A-T, which means destruction, to lose or to be injured. And the seventh word, Akent, A-K-E-N-T, meaning a resting place, a domain, estate, or abode. And for number 3, choose hieratic words from the shipwrecked sailor to construct sentences of communication from the circle 7 of your own making. No self. No self, no Lord God, which in essence pulling from the Quran, know thyself and thy father God Allah. So no was the RH coming from Poe, the shipwrecked sailor. Yourself.
Islam, pardon self, Grand Secretary of State.
Islam.
You hit hide on that demonstration, not stop sharing, and that way to move it out the way.
Thank you.
Islam, gratitude. Go ahead.
Gratitude.
Yeah, we just want them to see exactly what you demonstrate. Oh, powerful. I'm loving this. Ooh-wee.
Praise Allah. So my sentence out the circle 7 Quran was know thyself and thy father God Allah. And I tell you, and what I did was kind of like pull out the words from that Poe document that I knew were listed in the Quran, you know, and I had a couple pages of that, but to try to make it easier to find the words. So no is the RH, the self is the TW. This is the hieratic. The Lord is the NB, and of course netter is God. So that's what I did for that, and I only did 2 of them. The last one was dealing with the I couldn't find in the Poe the word for hate, and so I said, okay, learn love, not hate. So for hate I just used the word descent, you know, or to descend, because you know when you in essence your lower self, pain and death. So no is the RH again. The no, I'm sorry, learn, first word learn is RH. And we see the okay, love here, which is the man with the hand to the mouth. So that's the learn love. And not which is this word here. And then, like I said, I couldn't find hate in the Poe document, so I just used to go down, come down, descend and fall into your lower self, which is the HAI. Definitely painful because you're in misery, which is the MR. And to die and death is the MT. And so that's my measure. Now, where's this stop sharing thing? Oh my goodness.
You can actually keep it up there.
Okay.
And those particular measures, we just wanted to go into the pronunciation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what you have. You did a grand job, Grand Secretary of the State. You can go back to the first one.
The first one.
We'll go to the and they are using we see bilaterals in there, and we got to enter some of those in our work.
Okay.
So there's no problem with that. You know, that's not a big deal, but you can actually see them if you look at the letters, the correction, they are definitely there in what you have written out. And so go back to the actual pronunciation of it. We love the way that, you know.
Oh, you're talking about in the Poe document?
Oh, yeah. When you went to the Poe document.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. And as we can see, you know, we see Ray. Let me see. That's T and W, right? Yeah.
Yes.
That's Ray to Netter, right?
Islam. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ray to Nebnetta. You know, that's how you would say no self, you know, no Lord God, or know thyself and thy father God Allah. And the next one was
okay, next one.
Okay.
Pull it up some.
Hemirmut. Learn love and not hate. Hemirmut. That's
Islam.
what we see. Islam. Islam. I
Praise
just want
Allah.
Islam. You know, we have to insert our vowels the best way we do, and we always use the E. You know, that's a common, you know, expression so that we can be in somewhat some sync with what's going on. But I'm trying to figure out a way in our pronunciation, you know, to cancel out while saying. You see?
Say it again. You trying to figure out?
Yeah, to cancel out the vowel while saying it at the same time.
Oh,
You see, Hamirmut. You see, if we do it that way, then it actually sound like actual ancient, you know, the way that they would speak it too. Hamirmut. You
Islam.
see? So, okay. You did a grand job, Grand National Secretary of the State. And if you notice what you have here, you know, and what you have up here, you know, and everything that you have shown, we see the hieratic, you know, out front. And that's what we want to get to, just like the different pictures. We don't want nobody to get it twisted. You know, we're not dealing with the glyphs. We're talking solely about the hieratic, and we are showing our people the hieratic. The glyphs are only there as markers because due to reverse engineering that was demonstrated by, you know, the European scholars, they end up placing those pictures there. We already demonstrated that. It's just a powerful thing because we're getting deeper into the language. And our Grand National Secretary of the State, along with all of our other scribes, doing a great job. You know, like I say, this ain't no overnight demonstration. You know, this is those who have the courage and the fortitude, so to speak, to come forth and do this work. You know, because once we get further into this demonstration, the more that we begin to utilize this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, we will be able to present to the public information that is, again, in relation to our own. You know, we have the font that I was able to reconstruct. You know, praise be to the great God, because we didn't have, you know, a hieratic font out there in the media where we can actually find it and use it. And so, and definitely when it comes to our language, you know, we had to build it up accordingly. There are certain letters that don't exist in the English that deal with our thing. So we had a little measure there. Still got a little tweaking to do here and there. And it's really based on the 28 letter sequence. So certain letters you have to know in relation to dealing with sound shifting. And if a certain letter isn't there, then you just basically take certain letters out. And that actually is what makes our words unique to our language as well. You know, that's what brings about the morphology. Morphology comes on the manifest as a result of, say, in one language you had a letter G, but there is no letter G. So you may have to substitute it with the letter J. You see? So instead of it being AG, in your particular language, it becomes AJ. You see, this is what happened with the term Yehoshua, Yahshua. You know how it becomes later related in other languages as your Isa or your Jesus, because we know the Y is interchangeable with the J and the I, so forth and so on, right? So it's just morphology is what we're dealing with. Like certain words, like we showed in our last class, the word katib, but they didn't have the K on the front. They had atib, you know, in reference to the same word. So sound shifting is very key when we begin to vet these words out and deal with the morphology on how they take on different changes and different forms, you know, as you go throughout the language. And I will be going, like I did before, on the words that are submitted by the family. You can send your words, you know, your 7 A-list words to me. And we are working on putting all these things, you know, in our lexicon, you know, as we continue to move forth. And at a certain point, we get to a certain amount in certain words, we'll move on to the next letter, and we moving in abjad order, you know, the ABGD order. So B will be our next measure after we get out of the A, you know, and by the time we get down to the end, you know, we will have dictionary, and we can always revise it and add into it other words. But yes, this is how words become unique to other to languages when they are created. So like I said, it could be even the letter B, and it may not be a B in the particular language, but we know that's interchangeable with the letter P as well. We know it's also interchangeable with the letter V, so we're all these things will surface as we continue to build these things up, because not only do we have the hieratic, but all of these things through the vetting and bringing them together, these words, when we find them, this is showing the words that actually have an origin in Kemet, but they came forth also in the language of the Hebrews and the language of the Muslims and so forth and so on, even in India, because we have documentation, on records in regards to dealing with those special measures. And in fact, I'm gonna see, can I pull this up real quick and without glitching, pull my records up, go into my archives and go into my screenshots, because I had some drawings on this, and I'm gonna show our family just dealing with how language through morphology, proves connection between a people. It shows you who a people is. You also are able to learn, how close a people was, as opposed to what people like to try to make it seem like they have no relation to each other. These people actually have more connection than you may know. So let me see here. I'm trying to pull my documentation up real quick. Give me 1 second, family. Okay, not that one, because I got a couple of them in here. Let's see here. Let me hit this one here and see if this one is the one document. Okay, it's not that document. So yeah, family, this language, this is a grand demonstration to be able to go into this language. I never don't get bored to me. I don't get tired of demonstrating it. The more that we know, the more that we grow. Let me see here. I got so many archives over here. I still got to go into these files and delete a lot of things too, a lot of duplicate files, a lot of things that I had downloaded more than one time. I'm gonna have to still do that as well, so I can get this computer a little bit more out of the glitchy side of things. So I'll probably start doing that immediately too when I get up off of here. All right, come on, where you at? I know you in here, dictionary. And this is actually a book too that we showed to our family not long ago. Ooh, boy, I got a lot in here. No wonder why my little computer be acting crazy. I got so much over here, it's bogging down my little drive over here. And it's easy to accumulate this stuff, Morris Ken, when you go to pulling up this information and you're looking all over, looking everywhere. It's easy to accumulate a whole lot of information. Okay, that's not the one there. Islam, Brother Marvin Edwards, babe.
Yeah, I just gratitude. Yeah, I just want to say, I find that, like you say, when you go on those different sites and they have those documents online, and like if you like you say, I know for me, you get 2 or 3 different, say, opening. When you connect to them 2 or 3 different times, so that also going to drag down your computer too. Mine,
Oh yeah. When you're in one site and you're trying to do searching, sometime that definitely do. They normally should act right under any circumstance, but like I say, I think some stuff going on with a lot of these different apparatuses, you know, that's aiding them to act crazy to a certain degree too.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, I actually was looking around. I'm thinking about just getting a whole different laptop for when I come forth to go live. But the only problem with that, you know, is that I won't have you know, access to all my files that's on here.
Right.
I probably end up having to move them over to another drive.
Islam?
Islam Grand Man.
Pardon self, I didn't mean to walk over your conversation. But I think it might be a good idea to establish a server. You know what I mean? Microsoft server, one of them, and then implement some RAID type of security on it. You know.
Yeah, mashallah.
You know, something to think about in the future, near future.
Islamism. Okay, here it is. I think this is what I'm looking for right now. Yeah. I got them here. Okay, this is what we had here. Let me share my screen. And I demonstrated this in another measure on my channel and went more in depth into this when I was dealing with the languages. But this particular work here is by one that was making claim, you know, Indus Kushite descendant, so to speak, was laying claim to the Kemetic roots, you know, and, you know, mostly people like to go at it from the standpoint that, you know, their ancestors were one that founded the Kemetic aspect, you know, just like we seen in the that one document that dealt with the Hebrew origin, where one was saying the Jews was the original Egyptians, you know, and we understand what's going on there. But nevertheless, we're gonna bring this demonstration forth here. Let me open up my screen. Can you see my screen share now, family?
Islam.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and y'all see me going through these slides?
Islam.
Okay, and so this actually, I need to get this book too. You know, it's called The Hieroglyphics Key. This was written by one that is from India. And so let me hit this hide icon. You know, a lot of these things I just took snapshots of, even though I had an actual PDF as well. Well, actually, I could go to the book, not the PDF, but go to the book. But I want to get this book and that other one. In fact, I'll probably end up ordering them, you know, maybe today. But if you notice here, and this is just to show you some morphology, you know, the root remained the same here, but we see they are talking about the flag as a patriotic symbol of a country, you know, the community sovereignty and their leader or God, right? As we know that this is a symbol of nature. You know, this is dealing with the personification. It's not talking about an alphabet, but a personification, because that's what the symbols represent. People, places, and things. And there's a difference. Our brother Mustafa Gadala emphasizes this. You know, he always goes into the essence of this when he's speaking in the likes of dealing with the language, you know. And the main thing what I'm showing here is that they went into the phonetic of the glyph R8, which is nature, and they say, well, it means cloth on a pole, you know, so that automatically denotes flag. So the first flag, which is also referred to sometimes as ayat neta, A, which is I-A-N-T. So that word I-A-N-T, ayat, you know, is synonymous with the word ayat. Ayat actually, if you look into the E.A.R.S Budge dictionary, it means an ensign, a sign, so to speak, you see? And so when we say ayat in Arabic, ayat, we can see derived directly from that word ayat in the Kemetic language, you see? And there's a connection even when you go into the Hebrew. And I want to say they actually have the A at the end. I mean, the H at the end. Ayaha, just serving in the memory. But nevertheless, notice it say, well, the Sanskrit word is netri, which means one who leads or guide, leader, conductor, manager, guide, a director, preceptor, a chief master, head, inflictor, as a punishment, an owner, a hero. Now, this is one that is able to deal with seeing their connection. They vetted this word and it brought a connection to them. So we can see actually with this knowledge that this word netter, goes from Kemet into India. And that may even be one of the things that we can look at, some of the words that have not been so strong when it comes to putting the Arabic and the Hebrew together. And some of them may have just the Arabic in the Egyptian, or either the Egyptian in the Arabic, maybe just between those two, then that other hard, strong word may be found over here. This is just something I'm raising, in my mind right now as speaking of it. But notice that in their language, this word netri, which is synonymous with netta, is actually a leader, a guide. So this, if we look at this in the context in the way we teach, and we think about the magistrate, we think about the master teacher, we think about being the leaders, sheiks, and guides of the community. We can see the connection of how one that is a guide becomes a representative of the God upon the earth. You see, and this makes it plain when you look at it this way. And so we see a grand connection between this netri and netter. This is in the Indus Kushite Valley civilization language in Sanskrit. You see? Now the original, going back before that, was the Harappian tongue, but that's a whole nother measure. And a lot of that corresponds with what we call cuneiform, Punic. We can even see a connection between that and the ancient Sabian language, that we call Sabian. But that's a measure too. Here's another measure here, where they were dealing with the glyph S43, and is deciphered as a walking stake, which is walking stick instead of walking stake, by the Egyptologists. And this phonetic is MD and W is what he placed here. Now, this is very powerful here, because if you ever heard me talk about, now Medu normally has to do with words, speech and so forth and so on. Now, we understand that the word mudar, mudar is actually in connection to that special demonstration when they speak of Arabic, original Arabic being mudar. And they said that that's actually connected to the ancient Egyptian or Kemetic way of writing. So the original Quran was written in mudar, in Egyptian relationship, so to speak, to that special language. So we can say the first Quran, even though, a lot of the original documents were destroyed, by Uthman, they were burned. We can say that the actual drawing is, there's a connection between Medu Neter and Mudar. But right here in the Sanskrit, we see, that they are dealing with the word as mudra as well. Now, if we know anything about mudras, now mudras, are different gestures that are often being made, and this is where your Masons has stole, different signs and various forms of expression by means of body gestures. And this is what the chairman calls scratching and digging, where they got it from. Mudras to our people, or even the people of the ancient Indus Kushite Valley civilization, these were seals we have some of them in our Egyptian adept writer self-initiation as it relates to opening up, the chakras and healing the body, allowing passage of energy through certain symbols that are impressed upon, the very makeup of the body. So these are signs and symbols, that are for conscious mind and men and women of understanding. So where these so-called Western Freemasons use these hand gestures that a lot of people like to call tokens and passwords. You're going to see that in definition here. You probably already see it now. A lot of this stuff, instead of using this to try to move around the world and get through certain doors that you normally couldn't get through on the manifest, a lot of these things actually have to do with allowing energy to travel freely throughout the body. You see, so there's a totally different use, for these different hand gestures and signs and symbols that they like to use in secret society, so-called, in the way that they were used in the ancient societies. So you find mudras in ancient Kemet upon the wall. We see, the Neteru, and often those who are there, the Remet, the people, they are often demonstrating, these are special gestures. And this is why ones will go and try to twist and say, okay, so, we trace our demonstration all the way back to Kemet. I'm talking about your Masons. We know they remixed and remixed a whole lot of that stuff, but it's a hodgepodge of different things that they have added on. They are not lifting up Kemet, as we lift up Kemet. Kemet is just another means that they travel through, just as all these other different way of lives that we spoke of, are ways of life, so to speak, pardon self. And so, the mudra, it means an instrument, sealing and stamping. A signet ring is also another measure. A stamp, imprint, mark, sign, impression, image, mystery, a sealing, a token, a type, an image, a badge, a metal, stamp, coin. These are all, different definitions, but you see that they are connecting the mudra, and they are looking at a morphology, because you see MDW here. But if you were to take the vowels out of this would be actually MDR. So the aura, mudra, would become, the again, it would become the actual morphology that take place in that particular word. And they also went here, and they were speaking on the phonetic of the W, talking about plural strokes, another thing that the European used, the Sanskrit word, of what they call abtri, which means to descend, and tree means three, which is descend. So they are actually saying that this W, they are identifying this in reference to dealing with the plural stroke, in relation to the concept of the three. And they are linking this up here. And this is actually AWA, our way. Now, what we know is when we get into this special drawing, abtri, it would actually be A, W, and we know W is interchangeable with letter V. Only difference is the morphology come with the T and the R being added there. So at root, the A in the V would be, in relation to the A, W, and the A. That's the connection. You see, so all that deal with sound shifting, again, and morphology when it comes to the words. So they say it means to descend, a light, flow, run, to enter into, come into, get over, subdue, overcome, to bring, fetch, down, set down. These are all the definitions in the Sanskrit. And then they go further into this, and they actually put a symbol together, in relation to dealing with this sentence that they have here. It says so-called hieroglyph. Notice it says so-called hieroglyph. Their word is not correct. Originally, the words netri, mudra, avtri, are formed by the Sanskrit language, which means one who leads a chief, imprint, mark, sign, and to descend is say a light and set down respectively. You know, so he going through there and saying basically he's saying that they haven't and notice he says here too, he's saying that they hadn't transliterated nothing, they hadn't deciphered anything. That's his position. And he's saying they hadn't deciphered it because they hadn't deciphered it from the Sanskrit standpoint or Indus Kushite. That's his approach. It said, thus so-called hieroglyphs are signs or marks, and those set down for a leader or a chief or a god. You know, and this makes sense if you look at it in this interpretation. In other words, it was meant, being that it's the language of the gods, it was only meant for the leadership or the pharaoh or those who were in pharaonic authority, the Pert-Ah, the Nesut, to go into this special language, and they passed this down from father to son in most cases. And it was never taught as, you know, alphabets. It was taught in reference to dealing with metaphysics. You know, there's codes there. As we seen in our recent class, we exposed where these ones, you know, basically had been denied, you know, that there were codes behind these things that are deeper. And that's what's actually considered cryptography, you know, in this time. But the European created their own after reverse engineering. So, you know, it goes, this particular work goes through a bunch of words, man. Like they really went down through there with this demonstration and connecting it. You know, even the word like ta, you know, they have the word pity. You see, they connected that to the word, you know, ta. See right here. So they're speaking of mention, which means ascetic god, and they have ta, you know, as an expression here. You see, and so they went into the Sanskrit word, and you can see the z in relation to the t and the j. There's a sound shift that can be connected there because we know t is interchangeable with the letter g. I mean d, pardon self, and then we know d is often coupled with the j, you know, but the, this is their way of pushing it and bringing it forth. Athipet, and they are going into this, which they say actually means over or above. So this is dealing with showing leadership or sovereignty over something. And this is top, you know, in relation to this. This is what they are going into. See how they went into it, say the beard is a sign of a young person that can be a husband or an owner. That means a ruler, a king, a head, a master, lord, owner, possessor, proprietor, governor who preside over. You know, husband, sovereign, the beard. So they are connecting the beard. As you can see, the beard here on Ta in ancient Kemet to their connection to this. So I think this one did a good job on making the connection that one, you know, made. And see, took all the vowels out, and you definitely can see what happens. Pitta, you know, he's correcting the European and in doing it through the Sanskrit, and this is his particular portion of understanding, you know. But we can see the reasoning, and the reason why a lot of this is so is because this language too is a derivative of ancient Kemet. I wouldn't go so far to say as that Kemet, you know, derived its language from this. No, it's the other way around. You know, but we look at this and we give honors to the fact that one is actually able to bring this forth, you know, and show this connection, especially when it comes to dealing with the language. So they got a whole bunch of them in here, family, where he go through there and he shows many different connections. You know, he even showed connections up here to some Arabic words. You know, the Masjid demonstration. You see, and showed the connection to the MS and the J, you know, showing where they actually got that demonstration from, the concept of Masjid. So, I mean, we can keep going with this special drawing. It's a powerful demonstration. They have many words in here, and they were using mainly a lot of the determinatives here. you know, and then basically going through determinatives. Because if you look, some of the determinatives, like our Grand Secretary of the State was showing, when they showed what she called the tooth, you know, it was an actual tooth according to the definition. I don't know if our family picked up on that. You see what I'm saying? And so some of these things are actual things that they are referred to. So yeah, you know, this hieroglyphic key is one of the books that one should definitely put in their archives. We just wanted to bring this measure forth in relation to dealing with, you know, showing you, you know, how deep morphology goes and sound shifting, how deep it goes, you know, so it don't get no plainer than that is special drawing. So what I would do at this time, I'm gonna do this here, and I'm gonna do this. Let's see. This is what a lot of people are afraid of demonstrating, that are calling themselves. This is what a lot of people are scared to do. They scared to go into this particular area here, family, when it comes to dealing with their research. I think I just seen the book too. Let me see. I think that might have been, yeah, here it is right here. So you'll know what book to order when you try to order this particular work. And this was a challenge to Egyptologists. So if you got all these people that's challenging these people, family, this is not by chance. The challenge to these people in the fact that people saying that they didn't decipher the work, you know, is a direct result of the fact that everybody is waking up to the reality that, you know, over here in the Eurocentric community of Egyptology, ones have not really deciphered anything. You know, this is the statement. So here's the book here, you know, that all that information was coming from. And there's other information out there. Let me see. Let's see. Okay, this one right here, this is the other one I was referring to. You see me quote from this one. And I did a whole video on this, family. Like I say, so you can go to my page and you will find this information there. Let's see. It should come up. The actual book is what I'm looking for. Here it is right here. I actually have some measures here. The ancient Egyptian, what the Jews was the actual drawing. And this thing here give whole passages, you know, out of the biblical text. And it show you that a lot of it comes straight from a lot of the Kemetic, you know, demonstration. In fact, what I do is I do it this way, because I actually have it here in my archives, and I'll show you some things. I showed our family some of this before, but it's nothing wrong with revisiting. There's nothing wrong at all with revisiting these measures, because the hammer of repetition, the more we utilize that, we can pound the truth in, make it a part of every special part. So let me go to this is my greatest archive here, you know, right here in my Facebook page. I always use it for teaching. And so I can always go back here and pull certain things up, you know, a little quicker. See what I was talking about, how I was talking about that internet running slow with the glitching and carrying on. Just give me a second here. A lot of this stuff is recent posts, so I got a couple of them up here. And I just go through these few here to show our family. Like I said, I did a whole presentation on this and got a whole video where I went further into the depth of the same stuff I just went over. So we understand that morphology. This is the point we're making. We understand that morphology and sound shifting, it's very important that one has this knowledge, and understanding the roots of different words, because even though a word may seem to not be there, in a lot of cases, it actually may be on the manifest. We just have to dig a little deeper to find it. But let me show you. Here it is right here. I actually went, and it's glitching. That's why I went past that demonstration. So these are some of the excerpts which I have went into. Let me blow this up, make it a little bigger here. Let me X this out here. Okay, so come on now. Okay, let me go right here. There we go. So yeah, in this particular drawing, this one here coming from, and this is a Jewish scholar. Now, one is a Hindu. This is a Jewish scholar, and he's also contesting the so-called translation, decipherment, but he's coming from the Jewish aspect, and he's saying, well, this is, evidence that the Jews were the original Egyptians. But what it is, family, we already know this is, I want to call it, just normal patriotism. One identifying something and trying to make it their own, instead of saying the actual tradition of the so-called Jews or the Hindus are actually coming from Kemet. You see, and that's where I differ between them. But the information here is still valuable because they both agree that the decipherment is not taking place, but they are all both trying to take credit for the demonstration. But nevertheless, this information is valuable to the extent that it offers, some of the sound shifting and some of the morphology in the words. And in this particular drawing, which is very much a jewel, and what makes it a jewel is because he's actually going into showing you, how Al-Sar represents, Israel. He's going into showing you how Yahweh, is the same as the Kemetic deities. And, so this is valuable information coming from this thing. So he said here, he says, symbolic diagram of the schism consecrating the rupture of the Judeo-Christian civilization with ancient Egypt. The Bible is a hidden scroll. It says the palimpsest. It says of the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead, when Moses broke the tables of the law, the secret Jewish tradition reports that the book of Zohar, called the Oral Law, is the remains or the debris of the broken Torah, a broken Torah. So you see where he's going. If you read the Zohar, you understand the history there. It talks about Adam Kadmon, for example. They're saying a lot of this information in the Zohar, i.e., as well as the Kabbalah, goes back to Kemet, which we know this. We have taught these things. But anyway, it says, it says, the tables of the law's secret Jewish tradition reports that the book of the Zohar, called Oral Law, is the remains or debris of a broken Torah lost to humanity. It says the 10 commandments of the broken tables, it say, were given in hieroglyphics, right? It says for the Torah written in Hebrew. Now, when you talk about the Zohar, you talk about Kabbalah. And if you want to connect that to hieroglyphics, you're talking about a code, because Kabbalah deals with numbers. It deals with the gematria. You see? It says, for the Torah written in Hebrew, letters is made up of celestial images of Elohim. See, that would be Neteru in ancient Kemet. Exodus 32:15-16, now the hieroglyphs are letters or images of the gods. And this is what most of the people originally taught. This is what they originally taught, that these were symbols or emblems. Now, when we go into our Moorish Holy Quran, we are told about the different forms and the thoughts that come on to manifest. You know, these are expressions. This is the same demonstration being brought forth here. The various forms of the thoughts of the Creator. That's what these symbols really represent, but that's a whole nother measure. We'll get into that later. So it says, now the hieroglyphs are the letters or images of the gods, not alphabets. It says, because of the worship of the golden calf, it says, the coat of Osiris, considered in the Bible as the Egyptian sin par excellence, it is written that the letters flew into the sky with their secret, that of the builders of the mysteries of Osiris. It says the Torah makes the ancestors of the Jews and Christians descendants of slaves and foreigners in Egypt. The Kabbalah deciphers the message and reveals that they were the true Egyptians, the true builders. The Torah makes the pharaohs and the Egyptians exist, while the Kabbalah denounces the ancient Greeks for being at the origin of the greatest imposture in history, the invention of the Egyptians. Now, what I would say here is that we know the original people there, the term Egyptian really means mulatto, mix, you know, normally, but we understand this to be the place that we call Adeptus in Egypt and all of that now. But when you go into the history and you look at the Kemites being the original inhabitants there, this is going back to the word camp. You know, a lot of people like to go, well, it mean black land, but that's still not referring to the man himself, is referring to the land. But the word Kem in relation to dealing with the man has to do with the inhabitants of the land that is called Kem or Kemet. Because often land has been named after man, just like Moab. You see, honestly, our Grand Secretary of the State for bringing that grand drawing with E.A.R.S there, because it also led into talking about one that was of Moab, you know, one bringing people out of exile and all that. Sounds like the prophet all day, but that's a whole nother measure. So what we are seeing here is that this Jew that is writing, this Jewish scholar, he's claiming that the Egyptians, you know, the true Egyptians were the Jews. That's his claim. And where that come from, if you go into Isaiah 19, it speaks in Isaiah 19 of the Israelites being referred to as third and Egypt being referred to as my people. You know, and they were coming out as a mixed multitude. At this time, they all spoke the Canaanite tongue. But there was actually some interbreeding between Egyptians and Israelites as well during that particular time that they were in each other's midst. So this is where I can see where this one is, you know, kind of getting, you know, this twisted narrative, but yet you can call it truth and falsehood strangely mixed. Like I say, we know good and well ancient Kemites were the ancient Kemites, you know, and the Hebrews were the Hebrews, you know, our Israelites were the Israelites, if you will. We know they were who they are. He's identifying with truths here. And I wouldn't call him disingenuous. I think it's his patriotism for being who he is. He don't want to fully admit that, you know, even though he admit all this stuff come from the Kemet, he want to put it in the aspect that this was Israel, you know, that produced these things. And a lot of Israelites wouldn't agree with that. Just like a lot of Israelites wouldn't agree with, you know, the notion that a lot of these things here that we are looking at now would come from Kemet. But the general opinion of men would never alter the nature of the truth, family. So just because you choose to disagree with something based upon your bias in relation to dealing with a certain teaching, don't make, you know, that a special demonstration wrong. You see? And so a lot of time when you get into the appeal of authority, you know, you find out that people try to do that. So it also was getting into what they call the true translation of E.A.R.S, you know, which is a lot of time they say E.A.R.S is where the word Hebrew come from. But here it says Ibre in the true Aramaic translation, Ibre, as if the scribes were pointing out that Hebrews are dignitaries, what they call sedentary people, the real inhabitants of the Nile Valley. You see? And it says Israel. When we talk about Israel today, we are referring to a geographical territory and possibly to the population of this territory. It will be difficult for the reader to abstain from such a representation, as it is so much imprinted in our collective unconscious, right? However, its original meaning is quite different. In the Bible, Israel is the name of Jacob, who received this name after defeating the angel of darkness. Jacob/Israel was buried in a royal sarcophagus and mourned by the Egyptians. So how many of our Israelite family know that Jacob was actually buried, or wrapped, and mummified? Oh, it says, but for the secret tradition, the Zohar or the Kabbalah, Israel is the god of the Nile Valley. So it says, under the term divine Shekinah, a lot of people don't know this word Shekinah, which deal with the divine indwelling in most cases. And he's actually expressing this as the divine light or the winged sun disk, the Abadat. And when you go into this special demonstration, you see the winged sun disk. But the word Shekinah or the indwelling or that divine light actually has to do with the true definition in reference to the word sheik as well. I actually broke this down before across the board in Arabic, because sheik or shayakun actually means power. Is not divine light considered power? That's just something I'm adding in because that's here. You see, so it says, who came down to Egypt with 42 angels, his court, which makes Israel a memory of Osiris, and prince son of Ra or Sar. Then he gave expression in the glyphs. He said in hieroglyphics, and he's just quoting the way that E.A.R.S Buds them put them together. Of his 42 judges, it says, we will see the myth of Jacob. Israel agrees with that of Osiris on many points, and that the name of Osiris is read as Is-Ra God. And I always used to say this here before I even seen this, Israel. Some of the Moors heard me say this right here. But so it's saying Is-Ra God. And if those who don't know, the word El is also synonymous with the word Allah. You see, this is why you find Al, and El in both, the Hebrew teaching and the Arabic, so to speak, depending on what scholar bring it forth. For example, in the prayer, when we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, sometimes it say Al-Rahman in certain translation, but sometimes it says ar-Rahman. That's the interchangeable measure between the letter L and the letter R. You see it demonstrated in some of the Islamic texts. So it says, and that's why you can see him put it here, Sar, as opposed to Saul. It says in hieroglyphics, especially the name Sar, Osiris, is the root Sar of Israel, meaning prince or son of king. So this is a Jew demonstrating this now. You would never think that they would come this, even though he's trying to claim Kemet as his own. The connections that are being made here, some of which I had already seen prior to this, but this is a great source right here when it comes to establishing one's point. So Mitzrayim, he said this Hebrew word reads in Greek Mitzrayim, which is also connected to the word Mesurah. See, I'm giving this based on my knowledge of sound shifting. Misr is what they call it in Arabic. They don't say Misraim, so to speak. You will see Misr. And so that word Misr actually is Mesurah. That's the connection in the proper way of saying that in ancient Kemet. And the Mesu Ra actually had to do with the children of the sun, or the children of Ra, so to speak. You know, children of kings and so forth and so on. You know, children of the Nesut, we can even say. So it says the Hebrew word reads in Greek Mitzrayim and cannot be translated as Egypt. It says whose root, Egyptus, is the name of the Greek god, Egyptus. And it says to come out of Egypt is to come out of a geographical territory. It says Greek, while to come out of Mitzrayim is to come out of the pyramid. The celestial uterine matrix. It's a mess. See, this one, he demonstrating that high science over here now. Even though he trying to claim it as belonging to the Jews, you know, we can look over that, but we see the science because the one is correct in this portion of the science. This is the metaphysics. These are the unfoldments of the codes here. And he using the Kabbalah and the Zohar to be able to manifest this demonstration. So I don't know what kind of Jew he is or exactly, you know, what branch he follow, but we can tell he ain't your average so-called Jew. It says, where the sun Ra is born, right? He's saying that this measure of Mitzrayim is to come out of the pyramid. You know, the matrix, which is Mesu, coming out of the pyramid, celestial uterine matrix mess, where the sun Ra is born, as well as all kings and men. And so this is still in connection to the word Mesu Ra as well. Children of the sun, children of kings. And you see, it says the maternal womb of the celestial mother, which is Isis, we know also. It says the celestial ocean, which is Yam. In this work, we will mention the explanation of the Kabbalah Zohar, according to which the people of Israel, when they came out of Egypt, came out of the tree of life located in the middle of the Garden of Eden, symbolizing the other history. See, this ain't ancient common information, family. This is, like I said, it's on a higher level of vibration as far as, you know, this is metaphysics, this is esoteric information and everything. It says the other family tree, Islam.
Oh, I just want to just ask, could this be the prophet saying that he was going to make the European tell the truth?
Yeah. This is actually exactly a part of that. Him making the European tell the truth. Yes, sir. It says Egypt. Indeed, the pronunciation Mitzrayim is the same as the Hebrew Me'etz Aham. You see? Now, it gets deeper because as we go through these things, you're going to see where he put certain symbols together. And like I said, I got a whole breakdown on this, a video I did on this, but it says Kabbalah. It says this is the secret tradition of the Torah dating back to the time of the Septuagint, around 270 AD. The word Kabbalah means that which is received. Kabbalah, also called the oral tradition, is the body of esoteric knowledge. It's corpus of esoteric knowledge, reporting the great secrets that the initiated Jews resisting and rebelling against the Assyrian and Babylonian and Greek and Roman dominations transmitted to each other, either orally or in writing. Thus, the Kabbalah is considered as a forbidden reading before 40 years, even idolatrous reading by the rabbinic authorities. And they no different than the Pope, because even though they stand out publicly condemning these works, low key behind the scene, they study these works. You see, it said because it often deconstructs the text of the Torah, going so far as to designate the God of the Jews as the God of the ancient Egyptians. Ooh wee! So you know they ain't gonna accept that. That's the same reason they rejected the history of Mathino. Manito, as they call him, Matinu, which actually means one who has learned. It says the Kabbalah is the hieroglyphic reading grid that has remained unexploited by modern Egyptology. And I will agree to that part because most of those who are dealing with Kemet now would never make the connection between a Kemetic text and what they consider Israelite or Hebrew or a text of Judaism. They wouldn't do that, you see. But we glad to hear this coming from that particular side of the fence, because like the brother said, you know, this is the European basically telling the truth. You know, so he says Zohar and Tikkun Zohar. It is a set of works gathering the fundamental texts of the Kabbalah in Aramaic at different times. When I use the word Kabbalah in my works, I always quote the Zohar text as a reference. He said Jean de Pauli and Charles Mopsic translated the Zohar into French. The Tikkun Zohar is the most secret part of the Zohar, and therefore of the Kabbalah, which questions the characters of, and hold up. Yes, it questions the characters of the Torah. It says the latter are, as in ancient Egypt, solar characters. The children of Israel are the 12 constellations that came to settle in Egypt. See, this is all esoteric. See, this is talking about the macrocosm now. See, this actually goes into when they speak in the Bible, they say, who is able, in the book of Job, I want to say, who is able to place Mazaro, you know, in the likes thereof that are in the heavens and the earth. Mazaro is referred to as what they call the zodiac in the Bible. That's the word Mazaro refers to the zodiac. So the thing is about that, the word Mazaro in its essence goes back to the word Metzura, Mitzer. You see, we talk about this because we showed you how in our particular teaching, when we talk about the gate of God, you know, the Kafesh that rotates around the star Venus, all of this is referred to as Metzraim in the heavens, Metzura above. You'll find that in the celestial ship of the north, where it talks about Mesra, Mesra, Metzura, Mizraim. The same thing that he's demonstrating right here, basically. I'm just using the knowledge that I have in relation to what we've already demonstrated, and you more know what I'm talking about because we put the charts out there. You see? So it goes on, and it says, Joseph is the nourishing river of Egypt. Abraham was born in Egypt, in the house of his father, Terah, the famous merchant of idols, who is none other than Yahweh, the God of Egypt. Because Yahweh, or Yahweh, or that word Yahweh, is a Canaanite deity. And you hear a lot of Hebrews saying this. They admit this, so they try to distance themselves from the name Yahweh because it's Canaanite. But what they fail, some of our people fail to understand, the original Hebrews, before they became known as that are Israelites, they were the Canaanites, family. This is what make us one. And until our Israelite family embrace their Canaanite roots, they will always be searching to try to prove their true identity. So even though one is trying to see El as a idol, you know, this is not the case. You know, Yahweh, no, this is not the case. That's why they are rejecting that and saying, no, this is pronounced this way, and this is, you know, no, it's the same deity, family. And at the root, the word Yah, you know, is the name that goes all the way back to Kemet, because we're talking about Ayah, you know, which is where Allah come from. And the connection with Allah and Yahweh, or Yahuwah, which is mentioned in Arabic, is there. So our family got to stop trying to get around that right there and embrace it, and then they will be able to bridge the gap between each other. So anyway, it says Jacob, a Yaqub, is renamed Israel because he is the sun illuminating Egypt, etc. These few pieces of information make the Zohar the secret code of an ancient of an Egyptian, or even, let's see if it let us. Okay, yeah, it says, or even hieroglyphic reading of the Torah. So when I told our family that there was a code behind, the symbols and the words, many people refuted. Then we see in the last video I posted where you had Reggie and those who on the panel with him trying to say that y'all don't need to be saying this in the public. This is meant to be hid. They want to hide it from you. I'm bringing it to the public for the people to see it, and people don't want this to be known. They want to hold it back so they can keep bringing you through these so-called secret societies and fleecing you and taking your money by making you, we teaching all the while. The information is there. It's freely given. All you got to do is do the research. So when you try to shut this information down, you actually going against, the actual information that can give you the understanding of what it is. Right here, this is a Jew saying this. Even though he's trying to claim, he basically should be claiming, rightfully the Kemetic roots, because even Mustafa Gadala said that the Canaanites or the Moabites who went into Mount Sinai, or the region we know as Sarabat al-Qadim today, he said that they were Egyptian colony. So it all makes sense when you connect the information up. So we're getting bits of the pieces of the truth from different writers. But it's up to us to be able to bring the cohesion to this special measure. That's what we do. That's why I continue to read. I continue to study. I never limit myself. I'm compiling information upon the information that I've already done research on. And so it becomes an extensive library within my mental Rolodex to where I can reference this same information right here, as our brother Bati Bey would say. So it says, the Zohar constitutes a fundamental basis for the study of the ancient Nile Valley, a basis that modern Egyptology has never deemed to exploit. Come on, family. It don't get no plainer than this. And then he goes really down through there. I'm surprised they ain't hunting him down. He was speaking on Adonai. He said it's the liturgy and the reading of the Torah and pronunciation of the sacred name Yahweh. Notice the V interchangeable with the letter W, nothing different there. It says Yahweh, right? Adonai means, and this is Masoretic text here. This is not the actual original Hebrew writing here. This is more of the Jewish expression of what they call Yiddish and Box Hebrew, even though you see this all the time. The other one is actually the Paleo Hebrew, is the most ancient that really connect to our people. So Adonai means the same time, my Lord and my lords, right? It says, and for the Kabbalah, the root Adon refers to the worship of the sunlight. Aten, Adin, in the hieroglyph, see how he dealt with the sound shift here? Aten. Also, you can see Eden as well. So it's not a worship per se. I would correct him on this. It is a reverence for the sunlight. You got brothers out here now trying to say God is light based upon the sun. But we know the sun gives off UV rays, and it replenishes the earth with nutrients, to basically saturate the soil with what is necessary in order to bring forth plant life. Very important activity, but this is not the creator himself. That's a mistake the Europeans have made. And you go to talk about God is electromagnetic energy, where electromagnetic energy had to come into existence. So how can God, bring electromagnetic energy into existence, so to speak, and then be that at the same time? No, he was the creator of that. He brought that into existence. You see, it's as simple as that if we want to get into, the discussion on it. But it says the Jewish tradition gives the hieroglyphic name of Abraham, or Etan, or Ezrahit, meaning the sun disk at the eastern horizon, right? It says, and you can see the expression here. This is supposed to be the horizon. This is the sun. This again is dealing with places. You see, things. This is dealing with nouns. not an alphabet. So it says corresponding to the hieroglyph Aten, right? Then he went to Anoki, which is the first word of the Ten Commandments. It means I when God speaks. It says this sacred name is considered I, a God, according to the Midrash Rabbah. It says, or the word of the Egyptian words, according to the Rebbe of Lubavitch. It says Anuki, Anukai is broken down into Ankh. It says the life, and Yod, God. So it says it is found in all Egyptian liturgy in the form, but it also exists in the form Anki, meaning the spirit of Ra. We find in this hieroglyph the 2 yards of the God of Aramaic Bible.
Islam. Don't that sound like Anunnaki? Like a derivative of it?
Yeah, it's definitely, some connection to it. And it's saying the God of time and of the life of Ra. And we know the Anunnaki are the gods. And Anki going back to life, it also I can see even a connection to Enoch to a certain degree there. So Anki, Anuki, it says is the God of eternity, of Ra's life. And then it says Elohim. It says the first name of God in the Hebrew Torah. It is read the gods because it is the plural of El. It says broken down into El, right? He and Yam, right? He, it says, hey, it says the breath of God, El, coming from the celestial waters, which is Yam. It says like Atum, the Egyptian Demerge, Yah, coming out of the waters of the primordial ocean, or what they call the Nun in the hieroglyphics. It says Elohim corresponds to the Neteru, the 3 gods, meaning God and the gods, Yahweh. You see? So, this is a powerful demonstration here. You see? Let me see. So this book, like I say, I'm going to get both of these. I want these tangibly in my hand. I was talking about that word Yah. And he goes into it here. It says, also written Yahweh. It say, it is the second name of God in the Hebrew Torah. Like I said, this name exists in Arabic as Yahuwah as well, or Hua, simply he, he. This is he who exists, or he that exists. Basically showing you the connection between the people. It says, according to Jewish tradition, Yahweh is unpronounceable, although it is pronounced Adonai, a Yehovah, a Yahu, a Yahoo in ancient Jewish texts. We recognize the Semitic roots Yod, Yah, and Yahu used in hieroglyphs to designate the divine light. It's or flood of the Nile. Man, this thing here cold-blooded, Morris Ken. One can't get around it. It says the Kabbalah compares Yahu, or Yahweh, it says, to the primordial light and course of the sun across the 2 horizons. It says the hieroglyph, again, going into of Yahuwah, it says is inscribed in the most sacred writings, as well as the name of Aten, the symbol of Yahu, is found in the royal seal of the king Hezekiah. I showed you Hezekiah's seal in the form of the winged sun with 3 rays, and the winged sun is engraved on most of the temples of the Nile Valley, as we shall see in the second part of this trilogy. Now, in the seal of Hezekiah, and I'm going to show you that real quick. So you can see what exactly it's talking about. And this is what they talk about when they talk about the winged sun disc. But if you look at it, it has the writings of what is called Paleo Hebrew. You know, not the box Hebrew you look at, and you see it look very similar to the language that we have when we talk about Iberic, you know, Egyptian and so forth and so on. So, because this is a Kemetic language originally. This language is an alphabet written in this same thing, and it's called Egyptian. We already proved that to our family. We showed it on the monuments. So yeah, all this right here deal with the seals, you know, of Hezekiah, you know, that were found. But this is also evidence, you know, of the amalgamation, so to speak, between the Egyptians and those Canaanites who became later known as Israelites. You see, so it all makes sense when you have the proper knowledge of knowing what it is that you read. You see, so it's something else right here, family. It's just a powerful demonstration. And this one wasn't planned in this particular work, because he even went into, you know, certain translations right here. You know, he showed where right here in, you know, this particular measure, it talked about, it says, in his name, you know, Ra the father, the reed, Yod, who resides in Aten. Then he came over here, Ra, the living ark ruler of the two lands. It say, who manifests himself in the east, or the region of the light, or Akhet. You know, so the light of Ra, like I always said, look at this here. This one that went and broke down the word Yah here, and then basically showed the connection of Yah, or Yahweh, you know, as it relates to Ra in the So this one is putting together some real strong arguments here. You know, this just goes to show you that everybody has a portion of the truth and a portion of their understanding. This is actually a translation showing what some people would call, you know, plagiarized drawings, you know, especially verbatim. You know, one would not like this terminology, but that's actually what it is, because if it exists in the book of the exit to the light here, it says, I am Atum, out of the noon. And then you come over here in this Torah of Israel, and it says, I am the Lord who brought you out of Egypt, right? Okay, well, let's go over here. You are the unique Amun. This one says, thou should not make other gods or idols, or adultery or greed, right? You are unique Atum, and I have not been greedy. Now notice in the Kemetic thing, it's saying I, and over here when you go into the Torah, it's saying thou. See, this is why we apply the principle. We say, well, in Ma'at, you know, when we rise up in the morning, we say, I shall not. But when we lay down, we say, I have not. You see? So you can see that principle being applied here just by translation. So it says, I have not been greedy. I did not blaspheme God. You know, the feast of the 7th day, 2 days of rest out of 10. Over here it says, thou should not call upon the name of Yahweh before me. It says, remember the day of the Sabbath. This is the 7th day. That's what the Sabbath is. Look, it's talking about the 7th day in the Kemetic text. And then it comes over here and talk about keeping it holy here. 2 days out of rest, right? So we see where that concept come from. It says the son who receives the word of his father will become old because of it, right? Over here, say, honor your father and your mother, that your days may be prolonged. That's the same thing being said or reworded in a different way. You see? Then it say, I did not kill. Where it say here, thou should not kill. I did not command to kill, you know, as well. I did not kill or command to kill. Thou should not kill. I did not have sex with a married woman. Thou should not commit adultery. I did not steal. Thou should not steal. I have not told lies. Thou shalt not commit false witness. I have been rich only with my own property. Thou should not covet your neighbor's house. See? Man, you can't get around this here. You cannot get around this here. You see? So whether one want to accept it or not, and it goes even into the aspect of dealing with their analogies. Up here, the name Osiris with Israel, Zohar Israel, Osiris, Isra, God, son of God, earth equals Sarah, Issara, Egypt, makes the waters of the Nile rise, and the just 42 judges, son of Altun, the Falcon, are the first man dead and resurrected son of Tum, Altun, perfect man. We're going to come over here before we go further because we're going to scroll down. Israel, Jacob, God, connection to Israel, God, right? Israel, son of God, son of God. Earth, Sarah, Isra, all right? The land of Israel. Egypt, you see? Then we go into makes the waters of the Nile rise. Same thing. 42 judges mentioned in the Kemetic measure. 42 angels are actually over here because they do refer to the judges as angels, and angels actually represent Elohim. So it all makes sense. You have son, Altun, the son of the year. You see, Falcon, Ra, the eagle, the first man, death, resurrection. Perfect man. Come on, I ain't really got to read all of this stuff. The rival with his brother Set, Osiris fights at night against the serpent Apophis. Osiris is the light which derives out Apophis, the darkness. When you come over here, there was a rival with his brother Esau, dealing with the aspects of Jacob, Israel, and fighting against the serpent of Esau at the night. Man. I mean, really need I say more? This is like just plain as it gets. So yeah, this is a powerful record here, family. When we get into dealing with the Medu Netta and so forth and so on. It say Israel now, as we have seen, Israel means the firstborn son of God for Pharaoh. The true meaning of this verse brings us directly to the hieroglyph, the son of the king for Pharaoh, read by the convention of Sarah. It says, but also read Isra. It says Israel in the Septuagint and in the Torah. Let us summarize. Modern Egyptology has falsely named the valley of the Nile, Egypt, and the two lands, whereas in all the hieroglyphic texts, the latter is none other than the body of the kingdom of Osiris divided into two worlds, namely the terrestrial world and the celestial world. It was read by the same, the name of Osiris under the form Sarah, but also Issara, God. Now, the Yod of the Kabbalah is the supreme point of the creation and resurrection of the dead. The Kabbalah affirms the three Yod of the king of Israel, which are found in the name of Osiris. It says in the form of the 3 Yod sacred name, the crown of Yahweh, Osiris, which symbolizes the 3 branches of the patriarch and the fathers of the world. Come on, family. So this is coming from Jewish scholars, and there are many other measures in here, that would demonstrate it, family. But I mean, it don't get no plainer than that, But I will say this right here, because I actually brought this to our family. This is actually dealing with a work, ancient work, that come through the likes of Clement of Alexandria, which our brother Mustafa Gadala often quote. And since we hear this is to reiterate again the real use of hieroglyphs, as that particular writer just did, and this coincides with what he said. It says scripture of nature. You hear me talking about reading the book of creation all the time. If you want to learn to read Medu Netta, read the book of creation, because all Medu Netta is basically the life of our ancient ancestors frozen in stone, so to speak. This was their day life and living. So if we look at creation and we see the metaphysics behind the creation, the spiritual meaning behind the creation, you don't need alphabets to interpret that or to transliterate what's being said there, so to speak. But these are events occurring that has to do with people, places, and things. So again, it says scripture of nature. a writing which would refer not to the sounds of language, but to the things of nature and to the concepts of the mind. Egyptian hieroglyphs were held to be such a script by many scholars from the 15th century to the early 19th century. So after the coming of the 19th century, this is when the new interpretation began to be invented, saying that the Egyptian symbols were a language. But prior to that, everybody else always agreed that these were concepts, metaphysics. It said this explains the enormous interest which early modern Europe invested in ancient Egypt and its hieroglyphs. Hieroglyphs were interpreted as natural signs or real characters, which referred not to sounds, but things. It says God created the world as symbols and images, and the Egyptians merely imitated the creator. Their system of writing was held to be as original and natural as Adam's language, which immediately translated God's creatures into words, not alphabets, but words. Somebody would say, if they was trying to argue from a straw man, I'm gonna play, as they like to call it, antagonist from my aspect in questioning myself. Is this is what people do when they truly go into a study, you see, and they really want to go into the ins and outs of it. So if I was looking outside and I wanted to try to attack that, by this being said, when we say, well, if this is translating the creatures into words, then words consist of alphabets. You see, and then they would make a point to drive home, attack on that. That's called straw man diversion. That's the straw man fallacy. And so now you redirect the course to something that we wasn't even talking about. So I did that for those who thinking like that. Yeah, we know how you're coming. So it says the Egyptian hieroglyphics were figures not answering the sounds or words, but immediately represent the objects and conceptions of the mind. That's why in our teaching, when Yehoshua went in them chambers, he was told to contemplate upon the meanings of the symbols. He wasn't given no dictionary to decipher it with. So it says this interpretation of the Egyptian hieroglyphs was based particularly on a passage in Plotinus. It says the wise men of Egypt, I think, also understood this either by scientific knowledge or innate knowledge. Innate knowledge has to do with intuition too, by the way. So science and intuition ran hand in hand. Philosophy gave birth to what is called science now. In the Hebrew text, they refer to this as Olam, the world of Olam, that which is hidden, the secrets of what is hidden behind creation. That's what the Kabbalah and the Zohar unlocks when you deal with the codes. You see? So when you go into this special drawing and deal with innate knowledge, and you see in the Arabic where they call it ilm, there's a change. There's olam in the Hebrew, ilm, knowledge. This is where they get the concept. If you ever hear them in the Islamic community say the ulama, the council of Islamic knowledge. That word ulam, ilm has to do with the knowledge. There was even a splitting of the ilm between the Knights Templar and the Muslims. This is why a lot of them got hung and burned at the stake, because the Pope said they converted to Islam. And they was worshiping Muhammad under the name Baphomet, basically. So they say the word Baphomet is supposed to be a corruption of the name Muhammad. But that's a whole nother story. We ain't going to get into that right now. Those who know language can see what's being said. That's also the reason why when they go into Masonry, a Knights Templar can go from the 14th degree straight into the 33rd degree of the shrine. You see, they get first dibs on that. See, all this stuff is all up in here, family. They can't hide this stuff. We know about all that. Oh, y'all didn't think we know that? We just look like this. So when it come up into this special measure, it says as it goes on, it says Well, it was speaking on this knowledge that was being mentioned, and then it says that they did not use these for forms of letters which follow in the order of words and propositions and imitate sounds and enunciations of philosophical statements. And they speaking of the ancient Kemites, but they saying that their language, so to speak, of expression was expressed by drawing images, which is all what they call Galmada, and inscribing them in their temples. One beautiful image for each particular thing. They manifested the non-discursiveness of the intelligible world. Every image is a kind of knowing and wisdom and is subject to deliberation. This is why we say signs and symbols are for conscious mind and men and women of understanding. That's basically what he's saying there. And afterwards, others deciphered the image, it says, as a representation of something else by starting from it and its concentrated unity, already unfolded, and by expressing it discursively and giving the reasons why things are like this. He's telling you how things should be expressed metaphysically. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen right there, family. You know, again, there's nothing wrong with coming from another angle using that hammer of repetition, because sometimes the nail may bend a little bit. You know, so gratitude, family. We just say Islamism. And at this time, what we're going to do, we're going to open up the floor to our family, our panelists. This has been a grand drawing, family. And we call for first our Grand National Secretary of the State, Sister Shepsut Rakat Ma'at and Pooh, Tut the Coming Bay. Gratitude.
Islam, Islam, Islam. Having already risen, giving praise and honor where due. Much gratitude to our family online and also to our panelists and to you, Dr. Shaheed, for bringing forth a very powerful E.A.R.S class today. And much gratitude for always bringing forth the hammer of repetition. And it was so beautiful. It was almost as if you were looking at layers again being peeled back, and additional illumination being exposed in reference to just how interconnected everything is, especially dealing with the Sanskrit language coming out of India, and also looking at the Hebrew language. So, you know, it's just so many aspects and so many things for us to enhance the foundation, you know, that was brought to us by our prophet. So I'm just, you know, much gratitude. I can't wait to get these books and, you know, go into further study, you know, so that one can be what they know. You know, research is always key. And that's why we state that our prophet encouraged us to study, to do the research, to don't demonstrate in a scanty way, go beneath the surface, because the more that we learn, and this is just the language aspect of it, that's still demonstrating, you know, the character aspect. And when you are able to pull the cover off and see that there are more similarities than there are differences, then that's another reason why in Poe Shipwreck said you didn't even see the word for hate up in there. You know, so in essence, hate doesn't exist. It's the differences in our limited thinking that brings forth these special negative words. And this is why, you know, how the prophet teaches us that evil doesn't have to exist. You know, so when we look at the what it is that brings us more together and dealing with the unified thought, there's more that unites us than separates. If we would but put the work in and do the research and find it, because we are the question and the answer. So this is just such a blessing. You know, I can remember, you know, when I was trying to search and, you know, figure out, I love Sanskrit, you know, but this is just a grand unfoldment, and our prophet in bringing the four sacred schools of thought. You know, everything is interconnected. That's why one truth never contradicts another truth. So gratitude Dr. Shaheed, for this grand class, and to all of my Moorish kin and my family online. I'm just humbled, and we keeping this study out front. Peace and love.
That's right. And Islam Grand National Secretary of State, you couldn't have said it better. And that's the whole key of all of this. Outside of everything, not only, like you say, are we learning our language, and the connection between the languages, but these are bridges, that should unite us when we find out. But we just have to stop denying ourselves of this, because Noble Drew Ali say we descendants of the ancient Canaanites. So if we understand this and we embrace all of this, that will bring all of our people together. The Kanana, they have to get out of the religious concept of understanding certain things and come into the actual historical base of it, and go into the spiritual expression of it. And that's what we will be able to meet, so to speak, at the center of the sun. So we just say gratitude, Grand National Secretary of State, for that powerful measure. Man, most eloquently expressed. All right. Islam. Okay, we want to hear from our other panelists. Open this demonstration up. Anything our family would like to bring forth? Gratitude.
Islam.
Brother Bati Bey.
Islam. I finished what I could with that and sent that over to you, the rest of the assignment. Beyond that, when we're looking at this, when we're looking at that information is that's needed, because now there's no way for us to, it seems like along the lines, in the chairman's book, it said once they were Negroes, once they was color, once they was black, and then it descended on down. And it seems like that keeps being their playbook that they use in order to get us outside of uniting. And when we're even looking at this, we're taking with this information. That book right there is substantial when we're dealing with the facts of we all come from one people. It's not unknown that it says out of one comes many. You know what I'm saying? And that's the paradigm that I think it say they put on the back of the dollar bill. It says or out of many comes one, but they really reversed what the saying was, and it was out of one come many, out of one nation came many nations. So if we look back and we all see that we are one people, regardless on what tribe or have you, that's that link that a lot of the our Hebrew family really needs to look at. And I like the fact that you broke down, you brought forth the information that broke down, what Yo Hey Why Hey is, and how it goes to Yahoo, and even the word when you were talking about what is it, Yam? You said something that and it's a it's a mudra, it's a mantra. Yam is referring to the heart, and we know that the heart in itself has its own neural responders to the brain. So therefore, if it also was a saying that was used in the was it the Poe document or the Molar, where it says may your heart stay, basically may your heart stay affixed. It said it was Hati, something like that. May your heart be strong, may your heart stay affixed. And so in that, may your heart, when you put those two words together, it's like it's saying, may your heart stay godlike, and be forth. And that's why, really the information is where the mind gets mesmerized. The prophet always said, he knows to turn your brain to water. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like that's what is exactly what it's doing when we going back over this information. You know what I'm saying? And it really gonna show what's truly in the heart. Is it unity that we seeking, or is it just to have the one up with, when this stuff is get delivered to the masses? And with that, I leave it a comment. Peace.
Islam. And the grand drawing is that the more that we look into these particular truths, what we find out is that you see the truth coming back in a cycle. I know that's what has happened, with self, to where once it come a time where you read so much and you consume so much in reference to dealing with the information, you begin to see the same truth in everything you read. I give praises to the great God Allah for allowing me to be able to read as much as I have, to be able to see, no matter what I read now, family, I don't care what book it is I pick up, it always leads back to another portion of the information that I've already researched. And it brings me back to the conclusion that there is no separation. There's only unity, and this is what it is that we are here striving to bring to the manifest. That's our gift of the understanding, to show our people where we are united at. So that is always the intent, And so when we go into this special drawing, this is how we will come into a clear conception. We only think along a linear aspect when we had limited ourselves in regards to what it is that we can learn. Remember, we said last night, some of our people have been held back and restrained from seeking, certain information and so forth and so on. So we give praises to the great God Allah that we, in this era time, being free thinkers, have the ability to think and also bring this information back to our people so that they may have clarity. So everything that I did in research, I always hope that, ones would basically be able to say, okay, well, now I ain't got to go and dig too much. I can dig, go deeper. But in most cases, the way I try to present the information, I present the root of the knowledge. So if one go into it, they're going to find exactly what was said. And it's going to take them a little deeper, if they just follow that particular source. That's just the way and methodology of the research. But it always is motivated by unity in thought. So we just say gratitude for that measure, Brother Bati Bey, Islamism without the schism. And all right, is there another one of our panelists that would like to come forward and bring their portion forward? Islamism, Sister Curta Bey.
Islam. As always, God, man, I give you honors, and I give all my family on this panel what was brought forth. As I said, this is such. I don't have words to explain what this means to me, and speaking to my family out there who is listening to us, who come and listen to your listen to this live, who come and listen to us. This is the information that you put out there today with these books. You got people challenging what's already been out there. I mean, that is powerful. That lets me know, because of the age, because of the time. Prophets say we in a new era time now, and because of the times that we are in, people are not just, when I was coming up, just taking what the preachers say, and you're not doing no research on it. You just taking what somebody say. In this day and time, people are not doing that now. They are with this technology, with all this technology and stuff that we have, with everything that we got. People are saying, wait a minute, let me check this out for myself. They are doing the research, and just like you were showing us how the different ones is coming forth, they challenging. Even I could see the truth and falsehood being in there, even though they calling themselves one thing, but they're challenging what's being said, and that's like you say, we can take that and use that, because that's good, because that's going back to let us know that everything stem from us, stem from Kenny, and we are not just accepting just because you said it. I'm gonna say, okay, yeah. No, we challenging all of that now, and not only the alphabet, even with the even in healing and in all of it now, y'all. I tell you, for me, I'm so excited because even studying these alphabets, because my calling, my passion is herb health and healing, and even what I've been told and what I've been taught, Dr. Shahi, what you're doing with us, that's causing me to challenge myself and go back and do research and what I've been told about, healing and stuff. I mean, this thing is so powerful, family, and I challenge y'all to continue to listen to this, listen to this playback or however you call it, listen to the recordings and just go over and over and over, because this is some powerful information. And I praise the great God Allah. As I always say, it's an honor for me to be a small part in here, to be a part of this, what we are doing. And I'm still I'm growing, y'all, and gratitude for your patience when I'm dealing with this computer, but I'm getting better. Like I say, my new thing is every day, in every way, I am better and better and better. I'm getting this thing. I'm learning it. It's coming to me more and more. So gratitude, Dr. Shahi, for all that you do, and gratitude for my family on the panel, and gratitude to the people who are listening. We love you. We appreciate you coming and listening to what we have to say. Islam, gratitude for letting me share. Peace and love.
Islam. In Islamism, goddess and queen, we give honors to you. And yeah, you're right. That's the main. You said the grand draw, and one has to challenge themselves. In most cases, like you say, but you have those who spend more time in trying to challenge, the instructor or the one that's trying to give them insight. And that's why it takes so long for our people to get it, because what one does when they do that is that they cause those who are looking, at a special measure, especially when it get messy, in the drawings where you see people want to go all out cussing and fighting and everything else, they lose those who are on looking in the process. That's why you always hear me correcting them one. Even when I was in environment, no, man, we demonstrate, even though they like to say debate, what about dialogue? They don't even want to use that terminology, because dialogue, you got to come forth with something, of reasoning, and that you're going to actually get something out of it. You come to a conclusion. You can have a meeting of the mind. With debate, it's just blood and gore, so to speak. When it comes to presenting the information and not caring about those who are looking, it's all about, this one here want to be more right than that one. I never have been of that particular expression of the persuasion. My measure was always trying to bring clarity to the audience, especially when you see somebody going to reject something, no matter how much proof that you bring to them. You see, and that's been the problem. If one has brought you sources, and you can go do the sources and do the research, nothing wrong with that. Go do your own research and add on to it. That's what one would inspire, to cause one to do. But the thing is when you have some people that it's not good enough for them, and they only bring themselves into a state of more conflict and confusion, then they blame you for it. You know what I mean? Because of something that they accept, and they refuse to accept anything outside of what it is that they already know. That's what it really be boiling down to. And that go back to what I say, when you find those who think they too grown to learn. This is just speaking with our people in general. That's their mentality. I don't mind, somebody challenging my information or whatever it is they bring to the manifest. The problem is staying in one place stagnated, going back and forth over something and not being able to move to the next degree. This is what's going on with our people, you see, as a whole. And that's why we are still so far behind, because they don't challenge the European. European tell them something and they jump right on it, eat it up, and that's what it is. I don't want them to jump on what I say, eat it up, and that's what it is. I'm saying if I show it to you and you never seen it before, then why would you go in opposition to something before you even went and done the research on it? Because that's what most of our people do. They go in opposition. Oh, that can't be the truth, you know. And so I know for a fact, like I said, a lot of this stuff ones can demonstrate straight off of the head without showing pictures of nothing. But if I did that, I couldn't get away with that. You know what I mean? They gonna say, show me the pictures. We want to see the proof. Where your source is at. And then the ones making the claim ain't showed the source yet. You know, and some people, I guess that's the way they choose to learn, you know, and so forth and so on. And it definitely don't give us a vibration where it makes us feel oppositional toward our people. It makes us more pity the fact, because I look at the state when I didn't know and say I used to look just like that. The only thing is when we in that state though, and we don't recognize it because we think that we already know and can't nobody tell us nothing and all that. That's a harder spirit to work with, you know. I give you prime example on everything that we just said, and we're gonna open the demonstration up for our brother Marvin that was bait. I give you prime example just briefly, and this is special measure here, right? Everything we just talked about, we already been over a lot of this stuff before in our own time, outside of the works of what we just read about. So in this case, that information is confirmation. And so you'll often hear me say, I don't read for information or just collecting information, amassing and compiling information. I read for confirmation. You see? So, for example, we was talking, and I just go right here. I was showing our family earlier, and I was speaking about Mazzaro. You see, even though I was speaking off of the head, I'm still referring back to what we done already put out there. We know this is constellation of Musketti, the great bull. Meru, Mesera, Misser, Mizarro, Mitzer, Mitzrayim, right? That ain't something that was just made up though. You know, because like I said, these are excerpts, you know, from different books like the Celestial Ship of the North, couple of more different works, and everybody's saying the same thing. This is called a consensus. Even though they talking about the four corners, the quadrant, the scimitar or the sword, you know, they get into this. Even the L and the L, the Adonai, the Yah, same thing that was being said. This is written in the 1930s, but that brother that was writing the Hebrew stuff, so to speak, he's saying the same thing, but he just coming from a different result. So when you see that much evidence being brought on the manifest, I mean, what more is there that needs to be known, so to speak? And I brought 100, probably 100 different cycles here of information when you deal with the Kafesh, you know, which is the scimitar, the sword of the four quarters. That's your flag all day right there. You know what I mean? And this is stuff that we show to the family, you know, and out there in the media. And yet and still, they're not rejecting this information after doing the research. They're just rejecting it to reject it because they are biased against it. Like I talk about the 7 Ali or Allah. You know, here's another measure here. The gods of the circle. You know, the 7 Elohim, the ancestors of light. You know, that's 7 Elohim right there all day. You know, so, I mean, it's all on what the mind is willing to accept. Because the mind would never receive what it's not willing to accept. You see? And they think that we make this stuff up when we talk about the confession. This is all these different sources, different texts. You know, when we talk about this confession in the scimitar. Look at that. All day. The opening of the mouth. You know, and so when we come in here and we show it to them, you know, they can go look where they want to look, but we done showed it to them already. You see, when you go into the Orisha culture and you see the same thing over here, you know, and then you go and see the name Ashe and Eshu, and you see it connects to Ish and Isha. You see Mu Orisha, and you deal with the Orishas, Alawata Allah and Obatala. You know, meaning white, deity of purity. White mean purity, purity mean God. God mean the ruler of the land. This is how simple it is. When you do the research, you see the truth everywhere, basically, is what I'm saying. Look at this. Totally different text right here. These are sources right here. You really ain't gonna find no more outside of what's here, because I done compiled a lot of it. All you'll do is find what confirm what's here. You know, but most of our people, when you put that stuff out there, again, that's on them if they want to complicate the simple. Let them do it if that's what they want to do. You know what I mean? See that right there? Same thing. This is actually showing you the netter in front of the scimitar above the star. I didn't make that and create that way. That's exactly how it was. And that's Kafesh. That's your Moorish flag right there in the Egyptian demonstration, right? That's how simple it is when you look at this in special measure, right? And we can go on and on and on, like we say, but what more is there that one need to know? And so once we see all of this and we see that our prophet brought this back, we know what he meant now when he say Egyptian Adept. Then we don't be thinking that this individual here brought the symbol. You know, when he got the whole fez over here, Masonic fez with Allah up there on it. And he got the Sultan demonstration he created here. You see, no, he corrupted what the prophet brought. You see, but you can't tell some of our people that because they too grown to learn. They think they know. You see, it is just that simple. So even on the back of the resurrection MST of A literature, look what they have here that a lot of people don't really pay attention to. Notice they got the same symbol here, but look at what's right there. This book was written during the 70s now, before the Moorish flag became the Moorish flag. In other words, they know the truth, but they hiding it over here is what I'm saying. These people hiding the truth, you know? And you can't blame the Moors that come up under that thought. You see? They didn't mean no harm by coming. They just trying to learn. So you can see also, you know, the symbolism in the Star of Magic. The prophet was the first to lift that scimitar above the star. You see? These symbols are very old, signs and symbols for conscious mind and men and women of understanding. And this goes right back to the same thing. When you have some our Moorish kin say the scimitar, they don't like to see it above the star. You see? But guess what? All these are Moorish expressions here, are Islamic expressions. This is a Moorish coat of arms. Even though it's black and gold right here, and you see a closed star, you still see a scimitar above a star. This is actually, you know, over there in England. You see scimitars everywhere. You see? So it should be easy for those who have done the necessary research. But like I say, I try to put it out there and exhaust it all to make it easier for our family. Not that they become dependent on what I'm saying, but that it become easier for them to find the information. You see? And it's the same thing when it comes to dealing with the names as we showed it. We done went over the concept of the Ra and the Ruh, you know, the Allah, the Yah, and the Yahweh, and the, you know, we showed the connection of these things. You see it, like the chairman say, after you get it, now what you do with it, that's on you. Then we speaking to the general public out there now. We know our scribes already know what this stuff is. So we don't have to repeat the same thing over. See, there you go, y'all right there in connection to it. E.A.R.S. You know, all these same connections of this here, and it even tell you right here the word Jah, the great. E.A.R.S. You see? Ain't that same deity right there that was sitting in front of the flag a few minutes ago? You know, it's just something else, family. They're like the Grand National Secretary of the State said, no truth contradicts another truth. It's just that plain and simple. You know, so we just got to be able to understand sacred geometry when we see it and be able to understand how to decipher the codes, you know, that are hidden behind certain things. So Islam, you know, this is a grand drawing, you know, so this is most powerful, family. But we'll call forth our brother Marvin Edwards Bay to see if he have something to bring forth. And then we'll take it on up in the third heaven, family. Go ahead, brother Marvin Edwards Bay. Islam.
Islam and gratitude. Yes, I'm Dr. Marvin Edwards Bay, Consul General of the Texas Consulate, rising, giving all praise to the great God Allah, giving highest honors to his prophet, our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. Give high honors to our theocratic government, our Moorish American government. Give high honors to our Act One. I give high honors to all of our officials. I give high honors to this class, our E.A.R.S class, our Egyptian Adeptus Research Sultanate class, as well as I give honors to you, Dr. Shadu Mintiel Mohedi Sepsuel, our National Assistant Grand Sheikh of Morris America, for hosting and instructing this E.A.R.S class. A very powerful class. And like I said, I don't like to make excuses for not having my homework, but I do want to say that I am continually inspired to do better. You know what I mean? Because it's all about acquiring the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding so that we can bring it to our people. And this is a beautiful avenue for us to do that. You know what I mean? Studying the language. And, you know, you showed how everything is connected, how our language is the mother of all, you know, and it just, you know, and so when I hear our family that's, you know, that's not into the fold, so to speak, you know, talk about that, they, you know, like we've always been here in America, you know, they want to pull that demarcated type of mentality to try to separate themselves from, say, the ones that came over on the slave ships or whatever, you know what I mean? You know, so it's all about that dichotomy, you know what I mean? So it's just so powerful that we are under the understanding that we are all family, we're all connected. And so I think that's the thing, you know what I mean? To unite under a common goal is to uplift all of our people. Because they used to say back in the 60s and 70s, you know, if there's one brother or sister that's enslaved in, we all are. So I just like to say gratitude, God, man, for allowing me to speak. Islam and peace.
In Islam and peace, grand man, you know, we got that little delay going on over here. And yes, sir, you couldn't have said it better, brother. And that's the truth. And so, you know, we give honors to all of our Moorish kin here, you know, because our only intent is to bring our family the truth. You know, we don't get paid for what we do. We do this for free. So these years of research that we brought on the manifest, we don't expect nothing back from it but trying to give something to the young and not yet born so that they don't be misled and bring down that special path. And I love doing what I do. See, it's the difference in doing what you do and loathing, you know, oh man, I got to go read, you know, no, when you love what you do it at your best, you know, and that's the thing. The whole key is I have a love for exposing this falsehood that ones has tried to use to cover up our people and let our people see the truth. And then they can come up into a higher state of vibration. Because it ain't my duty to say, all right, now you gonna come on up out of that sleep and slumber. No, my duty is to be an angel. Make it rain. You know, going on about my business. And in most cases, ones will reach out, ones will come into the drawing, you know, like we done had some reach out to us many a times recently, and those who continue to come back and listen, that are getting something out of this. And I can see that there are even those who are taking from these discussions and challenging others with the information. I don't look for them to say, hey, I got this information from the brother Commission Adeptus or Shahid or whatever. I just love the fact that ones is waking up. I don't have to be there because I ain't never been one that feel like I got to be known, in what I do. My duty is just to get the information and keep it moving. I don't have to be known as the one that brought it forth. It done been plenty of things out here that has been put in social media, that I seen ones take and ran with it. You got one that actually took the Egyptian adept right of self-initiation. And they done went and created stuff with that. I ain't suing these ones. None of this for, taking content, because I don't care to get into the feelings. Well, some people, that's what they would do, but my drawing is just getting the information out there, and that's why we putting this content here in these aspects of the history that we have here, so that when those who come behind us come, they ain't even got to deal with these arguments because they would have already been dealt with by us in this particular era in time, and so we have to become knowledgeable of certain tactics that people use to come against the truth. And really it boils down to, if they don't comprehend it, bringing forth some opposition or confusion or trying to throw doubt on the subject matter so that it don't take root. And if you ask me, that's nothing more than a Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast, or a demarcated, inverted thought pattern. I don't comprehend the truth. I don't want to comprehend the truth, and I don't want nobody else to comprehend it either. That's the mindset that we dealing with. You see, I'm comfortable in what it is that I know, so I'm going against everything else outside of what I know, you see. And briefly, because we closing out in a second here, I want our family to go to this website at their own time too and look into these special measures here, because these are the tactics that are actually used by those who will approach you. And there's an actual statement on this right here. So you'll know what's going on when one approaches. You know exactly where they're coming from and what tactic that they're using. We just talked about the straw man, where someone misrepresents your attack, to try to make it easier to come up with an attack, and these all deal with what we call fallacies. Here's one called the false cause, so to speak, right? And it says, you presume that a real or perceived relationship between things means that one is the cause of the other. And a lot of times you'll see the atheists use this argument, evolutionists. Many people confuse correlation of things happening together in a sequence for causation, that one thing actually causes the other to happen. Sometimes correlation is coincidental or may be attributable to a common cause, but some people will try to say, because the baby grabs the finger naturally, this equates to the nature of the primate to be able to grab a limb with their feet. You see what I'm saying? That's a false cause. They use all types of examples. You done heard some of the arguments, but I'm just showing you some of the things that they do. They appeal to emotion. You attempt to manipulate an emotional response in place of a valid or compelling argument. In other words, they can't debunk the information you bring forth, so they start ad hominems, where they attack your character and they curse you out. And all of this, they hope that you get into the argument with them and cuss them back out, so now you lose sight of the reality of what y'all were talking about in the first place. These are tactics that they use. Appeals to emotion include appeals to fear, envy, hatred, pity, pride, and more. It's important to note that sometimes a logically coherent argument may inspire emotion or have an emotional aspect. But the problem in fallacy occurs when emotion is used instead of a logical argument, or to obscure the fact that no compelling rational reason exists for one's position. So rather than one admit that what they have come into is wrong and they would rather argue, so all right, they forget about that conversation, on to the next, and then it's still, I can hold on to what it is I believe, as opposed to accepting the reality of what I believe is not correct. That's why they do that. If you ever seen somebody start an argument, it's an appeal to emotion. It says everyone bar sociopath is affected by emotion, and so appeals to emotion are very common and effective argument tactic. But they are ultimately flawed, dishonest, and tend to make one's opponents justifiably emotional. You know, so there's a couple of different things in here. The fallacy. You presume that because a claim has been poorly argued or a fallacy has been made, right, that the claim itself must be wrong. It is entirely possible to make a claim that is false, yet argue with logical coherency for that claim. That means that somebody can be wrong as two left shoes. But if they can argue it enough and convince you, see, this principle lies in European law. This is how you see people that are not guilty get convicted. If they argue it good enough to convince the jury, then you get convicted even if you're innocent. So it says, just as it is possible to make a claim that is true and justified with various fallacies and poor arguments. You know, so somebody can be able to bring forth some information and it may be the truth. But the way that they bring it forth, it may be a poor argument in the way they present it or the information. They don't have everything with it, but they may be true. And they can be overcome by somebody who can argue their point better because it is a logical coherency for the claim that they have. But still, it can be an outright lie. And the one who didn't argue it as it should be, you know, will be seen as if they are the one that's demonstrating falsehood. So you got to look at this, the slippery slope. You said if we allow A to happen, then Z will eventually happen too. Therefore, A should not happen. A lot of atheists use this aspect when it comes to dealing with God. You know, they like to say, well, you know, if God is God, then he should have known something was going to happen. If he knew it was going to happen, he shouldn't have let it happen. That's a slippery slope. It say the problem with this reasoning is that it avoids engaging with the issue at hand and instead shifts attention to extreme hypotheticals because no proof is presented to show that such extreme hypotheticals will in fact occur. This fallacy has the form of an appeal to emotion fallacy by leveraging fear. In effect, the argument at hand is unfairly tainted by unsubstantiated conjecture. You see, so these are all games that people are playing, family. And the chairman said all the time, freedom is not a game. These are all dealing with the games of competition. Look, at ad hominem, you attack your opponent's character or personal traits in an attempt to undermine their argument. Ad hominem attacks can take the form of overtly attacking somebody or more subtly casting doubt on their character. See, this is what you have people doing. They see one coming to demonstrate and they want to cast doubt on the character of the one bringing the information, so the people start looking at them sideways, and then they have accomplished what it is that they wanted to accomplish. All because they may be offended by the information. The information may be beyond them and they can't grasp it, so they want to make the teacher wrong. Personal attributes as a way to discredit their argument. The result of an ad hominem attack can be to undermine someone's case without actually having to engage with it. Look at this. Man, it's just so much in here, family. We can go into, the turning back, the burden of proof on the accused and so forth and so on. Here's another thing here. I was just talking about this personal incredulity. Many of our people suffer from this because you found something difficult to understand or unaware of how it works. You make out like it's probably not true. Complex subjects like biological evolution through natural selection require some amount of understanding. But before one is able to make an informed judgment about the subject at hand, this fallacy is usually used in place of that understanding. You see? So, that can go in many different directions. So there are a whole bunch of drawings, special pleading, moving the goalposts, loaded questions where you ask a question, you already have the intent of what it is that you already have in mind, but you trying to lead somebody into an area to where you can attack them and get engaged in an argument to make somebody look like they are teaching something wrong. The burden of proof. We already know that the burden of proof is upon the one who is actually accusing. So it goes all the way in here. Double language to mislead people, the gambler's fallacy. So yeah, there are actual terms that refer to this behavior. Bandwagon, appeal to authority. So yeah, we got to watch out for these things. And anytime that we bringing things forth, because that's what we're being faced by. And if we really look at these terms that are being brought up, what we bring to the manifest, a lot of times these are the personality traits of the people that you engage with. So if you see these things, then you automatically know what it is, that the illness that they are suffering from, or the ailment that they're suffering from. You see? So we just say gratitude, family, and that's all I have to say. And Islamism has been a grand class. And as always, and more information is coming out. We here to teach our people, uplift our people, and it's just a grand draw. So Islam, we pass it on, Sister Dendra now. Gratitude.
Islam. And Dr. Shahid, I would just like to say too, when you was talking, I thought about, the saying says, I would like to tell our Moorish kin out there out there in the audience, to keep an open mind, because the saying what says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, keep an open mind, family. And if we say something that might not understand or something, don't shut it down. Put it on the shelf and do your research, because, like I say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, the teacher is here. The teacher is here. So get ready, because the teacher is here and you will get it. Islam, gratitude. This has been a wonderful class. Islam, family.
Islam, one thing I want to say, because I see some two comments there.
Okay.
And post I would like to address, because I see one of our families say, take it to the next level of spiritual enlightenment. Move on and work on the next fixer-upper, right? And if ones hadn't been in tune with these classes, one would basically think that we ain't dealing with the spiritual aspect of things. But I would ask our brother to look more into our channel and look into, what we demonstrate in the Moorish American government. And you will know that we are way more spiritual than many know. That's what we talk about, spirituality, self-mastery. And to our beloved brother, he say, when you teach with love, then it will be received as love. That's a grand drawing. We give honors to you like that. That's a grand drawing, brother. And the thing is about it, our people have to look at it this way, because ain't now time, for example, you'll hear me get up here, call our people out their name, call them, other than the child of the great God Allah. I don't demonstrate like that. But if our definition of teaching with love is tiptoeing through the tulips, and trying to not offend somebody because of something they may not know, then we would never find love in a teaching, because we will always be in an emotional state instead of accepting, the teaching as it is. Because something go against what it is in my mind that I think, is right, don't mean that somebody is coming to me on a level of hate. That's just their portion of the understanding. You see? So it's my duty to go to do the research, like the sister just said, and then I can see what is best for me, and I can make that applicable to my condition. So a lot of time what it is, when we listen to different people, some of our people are going out there and they like information being presented, but they want the information to be presented from their perspectives. They don't consciously notice some of them, but some of them, thinking, no, this is somebody else's approach and what they bring it. But if we go beyond what it is that we are listening to, based upon what we have learned and what we hold dear to ourselves, and we go forth with a clear mind and an open mind, then we can receive something from that teaching. So when we address certain historical events, for example, I'm going to give you a prime example, just dealing with Western Freemasonry, and we talk about the secrecy there. We ain't saying that to attack Western Freemasonry. We saying that because it's the truth. They teach secrecy. You see what I'm saying? For example, if we talk about, the approach of some of the brothers in our Hebrew Israelite family, that come forth aggressive, and they do come forth with some people would call hate speech. That don't mean all the Hebrews come forth. So I wouldn't put a blanket indictment on all the brothers and sisters and say that. I would mention the actual camp if I was going to say something like that. You see what I'm saying? But that wouldn't be out of hate. That would be telling the truth. But if one got offended by that being said because they may be in the Hebrew paradigm, that ain't my fault. You see? Because I'm not attacking the Hebrews. I'm just talking about the particular group that speak a certain way, which will be specified. And so we can go, like when I speak about the MST of A, I'm not attacking what Prophet Noble Drew Ali taught, the temple he established. I'm talking about the remix that come on the manifest. And I ain't teaching hatred against them. I'm just telling the truth, and they know it's the truth. So if one get upset and take that as an attack on the MST of A, I can't help that. I'm not teaching hatred. I'm giving you the history. You hate to look at the history being brought to you. That's on you. You see, you have to question yourself, and the same thing about Christianity. If I tell you Jesus didn't seek worship in the Bible, he didn't tell you to worship him, and you look in that book, and it's the same thing I said, I ain't hating against Christianity or teaching against them. I'm telling you the truth. But because you have accepted what somebody else taught you of that, and you think that's the truth, and you think that I'm teaching hatred again, no, I'm teaching the truth. It is that you hate the truth that is being brought so forth so much to where it is a mirror that you are looking into when you see this information being brought forth. And so it is the hatred of self and wanting to know the self that's causing our people to be there. And I can go all the way across the board. The same thing with, dealing with Al-Islam. When we say, the Arabs enslaved our people, somebody may say if they're Arab, he teaching hatred against it. This is nationalism, Well, according to Al-Islam, Muhammad told the people not to sever ties. So who are you to tell me not to be one who embraced my nationality when it tells me not to sever ties with my closest of kin? So you going against the Quran. So I'm not saying that to attack the personage of the individual. We are dealing with a mindset and a psychology that we are addressing here. So I'm going all the way across the board. Same thing when we deal with Kemet. When you hear me go at the Kemetic aspect of things, we're not attacking the individual, we're attacking the Eurocentric thought pattern. So it's the Eurocentric thought pattern across the board that we're addressing. And if you put your personal self into it and jump into them shoes, talking about you fit them, did it. It's not on me. It's on you. And I'm not the one that's demonstrating the hatred. The hatred is what you see in the mirror. So I want to close with that and say gratitude, family. It don't get no plainer than that. Islam.
Islam, Islam, Islam. Well, family, we're going to read our warning. January 15, 1929, a warning from the prophet to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all citizens that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any citizen or group of citizens who hold malicious feelings toward the government or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Jew Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the government is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the government. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways by the order of Prophet Noble Jew Ali. A holy covenant of the Asiatic nations. Ye are the children of one father provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother have given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortune of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Islam, Islam, Islam. This meeting is officially adjourned according to Act 2. Go in peace, Moors. Islam. We love you, family.
Great class, Dr. Shahid. Gratitude, pal.
Islam. Great class. Great class.
Love.
Great class. Love you, Moors.
We love you, family.
Love you.
All right, now we love you, Moors.
Islam.
Well, we're getting ready for Sunday school, so anybody that's in this little chat right here on YouTube, Facebook, all y'all that want to come in here, you can come in.
Islam.
Peace and love.
Peace
That's
and
where
love.
the guides and the guiders of the nation derive from. Islamism without the schism, and I call that Aliism.
Islam.
Islam.
Praise Allah.
We love you, family. Peace
We
and
love you, boys. We love you, family. Islam.
Islam.